we are going free in the Christmas season. A big hello, a big Monday, good Monday, Sunday evening, and Monday morning to some of you. Hello, how are you? Can everybody hear me okay? I hope we're coming in loud and clear. I see Southern Bloom. She got pink socked. Greek guy is here. Great to see you. Zendrofin, Fred, Machiavelli sucks. The great Roy Danton is here. Laurel is here. Wonderful to see you. Artmaker is here. I presume everyone can hear me okay. I can see myself on these different platforms. And hopefully in the very near future, I will have, now that I have the money I need, I will just need to get the time to be able to get a new setup in place so that I can have multiple, even more monitors. As you all know, I have numerous monitors already in front of and around me, but I could use some more. Seeing Red is here. Hello to you. Old Bag, Apollo. Outrageously Inoffensive. Great to see you. Played a great piece, poem, video that he made and read it himself. Splendid. Johnny Side played that this past week, and we'll play it again soon, probably on one of these going free streams. Great. Johnny Side is here. A big Merry Christmas to you as well. Make sure you say that to everyone you see out and about, because saying Merry Christmas, whether you are a Christian or not, it's almost a way to say no white guilt, isn't it? When you say Merry Christmas. Loud and Proud. Underhill is here. Great to see you. Southern Bloom. It is that way and across the West because so many of us of the white race practice Christianity that it is considered ultimately the white man's religion. And that's why it is attacked. That's why manger scenes are torn down, but giant menorahs go up across government buildings, White House lawn, everywhere you turn. So everything that is ours, rest assured that if Christianity were celebrated by Jews rather than us, or celebrated only by blacks rather than us, that Christianity would be shoved down our throat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Syntheside is here. Great to see you. Fred P. Mandy. Already a great crowd of remarkable and amazing people making big changes in their own lives and the lives of those around them. So Seaver Hamlin, of course, wonderful to see you. I think I mentioned, or did I, Seeing Red? So many good folks to see. I'll pull up D Live as well. And I will say hello over there so that I can be tagged if need be. I see they have changed the little rewards, the little ninja rewards that you could get for the holiday season. Over here on D Live. Misty is here. A big hello to you. Great to see you. A person of European descent is here. We've got a few things we're going to cover this evening. Some of you may want to talk about the things that are going on, like in Virginia, when it comes to the anti-whites having taken over my fair state. And they're going to turn it into another anti-white hell like they have made of most of California. And that is because of non-white, anti-white immigration. That is why we are in the state that we are in the state of Virginia. And it's only going to get worse. The anti-whites will move to do things like restrict the right to self-defense. Please, everyone out there, stop calling it guns. Stop saying it's about guns, you dumbasses. Say it is about the right of self-defense. In a world where there are firearms, there is no self-defense unless you have access to firearms. This is about self-defense, not about your right to bear arms, not about your right to stockpile weapons in your houses, not about collecting or protecting firearms. It's about self-defense. And so, of course, the anti-whites are talking about doing that sort of thing. And then all of those who are cowardly cravens that want to talk about fantasies rather than get to the real work of going free and helping those around them go free, they start talking about, well, this is signs of civil war in Virginia. A bunch of old people, a bunch of old white people primarily, going to their county courthouses and saying, let's vote on being a sanctuary county for firearm owners is not civil war, you nincompoops. It is people throwing a tantrum. It is not civil war. For Christ's sake, if you're too dumb to understand that you need a center of gravity for there to be a resistance to a center of gravity, then please just go talk into the corner of your room rather than to the rest of us and leading people who could be going free, who could be improving their own lives, who could be improving the lives of those around them and spreading this curative contagion, leaving them alone so that we can get them doing something productive rather than talking all day about whether the Civil War is starting in Virginia. I live here. I guarantee there is no Civil War getting started. That is the pastime of pedantic idiots. I want to give a special thank you, in fact, to talk about all of the people who have been writing to me, all of the new people who have been writing to me. And there's been a raft of new folks writing to me saying that they were elsewhere in the white positive sphere. Maybe they were one of those cravens who were hiding out and waiting for the Civil War to be fought by somebody else while they just hide in their basements with their MREs until somebody else wins. And then they can go back to their regular electrical the electricity coming into the home and regular TV scheduled programs. These people are coming from places like that. They're coming from even outside of the white positive sphere. They have come across Go Free. They have come across these streams, and they are improving their own lives. Many things that are happening that are good, helping those in their immediate circles, even helping those in other places, on other forums, reaching out to folks, using the lexicon of dialectics. They're writing me, and they're thanking me for the work that we all are doing to spread this. I think it was last week we had one gentleman said that now that he has Go Free in his life, he has a reason to live. So we have everything from very small changes to life altering changes that are taking place. So let's continue with the business of doing this, and eventually we will draw people away from these absolutely infantile fantasies that have occupied the minds of too many folks in the white positive sphere for way too long. I've been here for a long time. I've seen them fantasize all day long, and nothing ever comes of their fantasies. We get no closer to recapturing our destiny, no closer to actually being a force in anything except their wettest of dreams. So I want to say thank you to everyone who is brand new, who is coming and celebrating and rejoicing in the fact that they now have a program that they can help themselves with, that they can help others with, that are in their immediate circles. So a big thank you to all of you. And actually, if we could get some applause and some celebratory emojis for everyone who is new, and many of them, of course, are not speaking in the live chat. They're just watching, whether it's live now or in replay. They're just watching and learning. Brand new to this, very excited to have them here with us, and very excited to have them making those leaps and improvements in their lives and the lives of those around them. Now, and because of that, because I have had so many people writing me recently about being brand new, coming to White Wellbeing, service to White Wellbeing, brand new to this process, brand new to going free, as I say, from inside and outside the white positive sphere, I have decided to extend the special price on Born Guilty, which I lowered by nearly 50% last week. Tonight was supposed to be when the price was going to return to the normal price. Because of all of these people who are brand new, they're purchasing Born Guilty and making big changes, I'm going to extend the special price all the way through to the end of the year. So the normal nearly 50% reduction in the price of Born Guilty is going to remain in place on Amazon until the end of the year. If you are, especially if you are brand new and you're very excited about this program of serving white well-being, you're going free. Maybe you already have the book Go Free. The special price on Amazon right now, nearly 50% reduction, is going to remain in place until the end of the year so that you all can take advantage of that at your first convenience. So thank you very much for that. Let me see. I saw Art Maker over here on the gardening channel. Queen, is that a F-U-B, Queen Fubi or something, I think, is here. Gregory Hart is here. Great to see you as well. Who do we have over here on D Live? Tay is here. Monkey125 is here. Alt Opinions is here. Great to see you all. And of course, Ray is here. And I'm sure his lovely wife, Heidi, is somewhere in the chats or in the background as well. Great to see you both. Mandy is here over on D Live. Great to see you all. I see a bunch of celebratory emojis of various types. I guess they're called emojis over here. I saw looks like a topless Stefan Molyneux dancing over here. Wild things happening. We have a super chat from the great participant in the community, Mrs. Jess Horst, $24.99, writing, Merry Christmas and Yuletide. Well, back at you, my dear lady. Thank you very much for being a participant and outspoken member, participating in service to White Wellbeing. Not just a member. Everybody here is a participant. Dale Jones, super chatting $2 as well. Didn't write anything, but saying quite a lot to the anti-whites with that $2. Jay Easom saying, can't stay, but have a good show. Well, thank you very much. We will do our best. The Golden Gladiator is here. Always, can't ever fail to mention how cool that name is. Katie is here. Great to see you. 41 BMC, DJ. George, great to see you as well. Red Eagle says, Sydney isn't saying that there are no men around, but that she wants a good-looking, high-status man, which is normal. Well, we'll talk about that in a bit, Red Eagle, and I firmly disagree with you. She should choose a man that is her equal in looks and should not be holding out for the prettiest man that she can get the attention of for this week, and then a different prettiest man that she could get the attention of for next week. That's a big problem in our race. It's going to be one of the things that Brant Danger saw you. Good to see you and have you with us, brother. Nordic Warriors here. Great to see you. Corey, great to see you. It's going to be one of the things that no matter how much ground we cover as a people, if we continue to suffer from this ailment of our young women waiting until they are beyond their best years to finally select a man. And as I say, we'll talk about it in a bit, but if this continues to be a problem, we will not be able to recapture our destiny. That is as simple as can be. So we need young families producing proud, white, happy children that are inoculated against anti-whiteism. We cannot have our women waiting all of their best years as they serve as concubines to the prettiest 10 to 20% of men until they finally decide, oops, I've hit the wall, getting ugly now, and it's time to get a man. Never Felt Guilty is here. Wonderful name. Great to see you. All right, well, let's do this. I didn't get to share a picture last time. This time I think I will. And the picture I will share this time is, perhaps you all remember this little guy. I had him a couple of months ago now, as I was briefly in possession of this beautiful, cuddly little ball of fur and fun before he went to his forever home. So I wanted to share that picture with you all. If you didn't see him, you'll be able to go back and find him in some, I think he only appears on PWR. I don't think I have him on my channel, but on PWR, I had him up in the office. He was boisterous and jumping around there toward the end, wanting to play, wanting to have some fun, as puppies are wont to do. And so I picked him up near the end. And of course, he was nothing but a ball of fur and love. And it was wonderful to have him in my possession when I did. If you all have ever watched or transported a dog to his or her forever home, it is a wonderful experience. Samantha Fox is here. Great to see you. Jay Easom says, a lot of people complimented my cardinals. They're nice. Are they lovebirds? Yes. Yes, they're lovebirds. They're the little cardinals I have on my computer. You can still see them on the screen, even though the picture's up. They are Christmas lovebirds. Of course, this time of year, male cardinals are willing to tolerate each other and because of the cold, because of the lack of food. And so you'll see these wonderful, you'll have these wonderful moments when there'll be quite a few male cardinals in a bush or in a tree, all side by side with their brilliant red plumage. And especially in the snow, it is a magnificent sight. Let me do this. I'm going to get a moment of, will I get a moment of feedback? Yes, I will. So here we go. Fix that. I have pictures from perhaps it is last year where the snow is fallen and everything is white with this beautiful virginal snow, except in this bush, in this tree, several beautiful red cardinals. It's a magnificent sight. So I will have to find that photo maybe for next time. And then we also had, now who was it that did this? I've got to remember who did this picture. This was fantastic. Western Vanguard, I think, is who did it. Yes, and I want to thank Western Vanguard for making this image of Person of the Year. I don't know that this anti-white publication would ever choose me, or any publication for that matter, white positive or not. But I certainly am better than a better choice than that little humanity-destroying handicapped child that they are abusing and pushing into the world, into our faces, so that she can say, how dare us for breathing out pollutants into the atmosphere. So a big thank you for making this Person of the Year, Time Magazine. Oh, if only the anti-whites at Time could see that right now. I'm sure they would be drawing up the lawsuit as we speak. Let me make sure we don't have any other super chats. If you super chat, you can super chat, of course, on Cash App at 6%, on Ko-fi at 15%, Entropy 15%, and YouTube at 33%. I think we do have one on Cash App. No. Okay, just refreshing right now. Ko-fi. And we do. It's Billahora. Hello, my dear friend. Good to see you. Super chatting $9 over on Ko-fi. And thank you very much. Writing, hey, Jason, I'll need to find your P.O. box in my old email records. Send you $signs and for shipping. And please get a signed copy of Born Guilty. I must have that book. Want it directly from the hero himself. Well, thank you very much, brother. Yeah, write me, and I'm sure you have my email. Yeah, write me and write in the description at the top of the email that you messaged me here, and it's about this message, and I will be sure to get to it, and I will get a signed copy of Born Guilty out to you ASAP. Thank you very much, my dear friend. So those are your options. You can also tag me as No White Guilt on the No White Guilt live stream, or tag me as Gardening with NWG on that stream. Make sure you tag me properly so that it will show up orange on either of these screens, and it'll up the chances of me being able to see it. Samantha Fox asks, did I read the article? I've started it and I have not finished it yet, but I did see where they spoke about the flyers that say No White Guilt. Thank you very much for sharing that with me, for keeping an eye out. Samantha Fox, everyone, is a magnificent participant in the community for White Wellbeing. Great to see you. And thank you for bringing my attention to that article about leaflets that were dropped for the work that we are doing here. That said, of course, No White Guilt, which is infinitely more powerful than the yet good It's okay to be white leaflets. And by the way, those of you who reached out to me, we can thank John again. A round of applause for John, if we could. Those who reached out and asked for leaflets that John paid for and spliced and cut himself into the separate segments and shipped to me, and then I have shipped them out to all of you. If you have not received them yet, Danny is one, and another magnificent participant in our community. She seems to have this knack of coming across rocks that have been painted beautifully, and they say things like no white guilt, or it's okay to be white, and different things like this. And she just finds them all over the park and different places that she travels. Magnificently lucky woman. And thank you for all of that you are doing. And I hope that many others come across those and see the light. They come to redemption. Lil Frigg says, just thank you for listening to my doxing troubles. So I appreciate your help, sir. You are most welcome. And I probably next Sunday, I'm going to talk about this in greater detail. But it does have potentially a bit of a connection to today. But essentially, ladies and gentlemen, just in a nutshell, as I say, we'll probably be talking about it next week. And that is that there are anti-whites who are coming to our women online. This has happened many times. I can remember when Facebook was fairly new, and it was the earliest time that I remember it being done. And it's guys, they pretend to be, they're handsome men. They pretend to be one of us. They come on to our women. They say all the things that women want to hear. They get the women to give them information. They get the women to give them sometimes photographs. And then they turn around and say, if you participate in any more of this white positivity, we're going to reveal all of your information. We're going to reveal the photographs that you shared. We will humiliate you. And the reason anti-whites do this is, and no doubt in my mind, these people are being paid, that they have offices somewhere, that they're being paid to do this, to run women off from the white positive sphere. So remember, I'll just say in short this time, and we'll address it in more detail next Sunday, that if you are a woman in the white positive sphere, you're looking for love. First of all, look for a man that is commensurate to you in looks. If you really don't have an understanding of where you are in the spectrum of humanity on looks, get help from people who will be honest from you, and then shoot for men, interview men that are on that level, and be very careful about who you're talking to, because this is not the first time. There have been several instances now on platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, where these supposed white positive men have shown up quite pretty in their faces, and women give them their information, they give them their photographs, and then they say, you better not participate anymore in white positivity. The reason why is they need to drive the women away so that we can't have a community. That is why the anti-whites fund this sort of thing. It doesn't work with men. They can't pay very attractive or beautiful women to show up on a man's Twitter or Facebook or what have you, because a man says, "What, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You know, you're a 10. I know, and I'm not a millionaire. So why are you talking to me?" So it doesn't work the other direction. You don't see that happening the other direction, but it does happen, unfortunately, to our women. And so it's very important that we do this show next Sunday, and we reach out to all of our women so that we can protect all of our women of all ages, but certainly the younger ones who we want to be having families, whom we want to be finding men and starting beautiful families, rearing them in love for our people. So we'll be doing that show. And I thank Lil Frigg for her honesty, compassion, and her concern for the other women in our sphere, so that we can get between them and the anti-whites that would inflict this harm on them. So thank you very much for that. Fred says, he's saying, yes, only the books that come from NoWhiteGuiltCollectibles.com can be signed. If they come from Amazon, I don't get to touch or see them before they go to you. They go straight to you from Amazon. DJ in the UK, super chatting £2 and writing, whites, FTW, brother. That's right. Thank you very much, DJ. £2 all the way over from that great collection of countries, ultimately. across the pond. Red Eagle says, what's Napoleon doing on your wall? It's not Napoleon, but Watch Rider is here. Writing, they did it to rage after storm. Watch Rider, good to see you, brother. Ryan Manley is here. Good to see you. Uga Booga is here. Great to see you. Uppity is here. Hello to you. Yeah. So what Watch Rider is probably referring to is they had a man come in and say all the right things, and then get the photographs, the revealing photographs, get all of the private information, phone numbers, addresses, and then don't participate or we're going to reveal it all. Jay Easom says, St. George slaying the dragon. That is what is on the painting behind me. All right, let's see what we have here. Let's go ahead and get into right away. Well, let's do this. We're going to jump to a section in Go Free. And we're going to be doing this more and more, especially as soon as I have this in Kindle version for you all to see. But if you have Go Free with you, I'm going to read a segment from it, page 105. And very briefly going to touch upon this because it is extremely important. We have to not speak with the language of the anti-whites. We have to not speak with their language, ever. It is a sign of white noir. It is a sign of the MPs that we are infected with. And if we continue to speak with their language, we can never heal. And you're going to have a hell of a time helping anybody else. So I write here on page 105, do you speak or write like an anti-white? And as I read from this, just briefly, these 2 pages here, I want you to think about yourself. Does any of this sound like you? And it's okay if it does. It's good if you see yourself where you are suffering from an illness, because then you can address it. Do you see it, as I read this, in others? It's good if you do, because then it will help you and enable you to identify it in those and in the next folks that you try to help go free, and to help them address these issues as well. Do you ever notice yourself or others speaking or writing from the anti-white perspective when objecting to anti-whiteism? Quote, we are the bad ones, so we are supposed to shut up and do what we are told. Have you ever heard anybody say that? A lot in the white positive sphere. Quote, they want their diverse rainbow utopia where everyone is happy. Have you heard that? Talk about a sickness. Talk about a sickness to state what they want in their terms as something positive. It doesn't matter if you think it's irreverent. If we try to convince a person from this point in their life, wherever it is, for the rest of their life, that the word tree doesn't mean the thing outside with the boughs and the branches and the leaves and the bark, it would never resonate at the fundamental level. For them, a tree would always be a tree. For them, a utopia, for all of us, is always a utopia. Happiness is always happiness. It doesn't matter how many times and how irreverent and how unctuously you say the word happiness. It's still happiness. If you're saying the anti-whites want happiness, it doesn't matter how you say it. You're saying that they want happiness. 3, quote, we are supposed to help the migrants and prove that we are good people. I mean, these are egregious, truly. Quote, I want to preserve my traditions, and that makes me evil. How many times have you heard people in the white positive sphere say something like that? All I want to do is preserve my traditions and my people, and therefore I'm evil. No, the word evil still means you're evil. It doesn't matter that you are saying it in a way that you think contradicts the reality. It still means and still resonates in your mind and the minds of others as evil. Quote, they are stunningly brave heroes when they radically change our societies. Using the word ironic and irony does not change the fact that you're still saying that they're heroes. That deep down, that's how it's sitting in your subconscious. Deep down, that's how it's sitting in the subconscious of your audience. Quote, we are the good guys if we reject those bad white people who care about Western civilization. Speaking or writing from the anti-white perspective is indicative of deep psychological wounds of white noir. Such behavior is an attempt to medicate white noir with a passive-aggressive irreverence toward anti-whiteism and the anti-white elites. Very often, those medicating their white noir in this fashion will articulate many of the MPs with which they are infected. In the examples, the speaker or writer mentioned numerous MPs. Whites are the bad guys. Multiracialism is a positive and leads to greater benefits. Westmen are moral if they empower non-whites at the expense of whites. Serving white well-being is immoral. Anti-whites are our betters. Opposing white well-being is moral and makes one a good person. Whether you or others have spoken or written like an anti-white, use these opportunities to identify MPs in yourself and make a commitment to yourself that you will never or never again speak or write like an anti-white. It is so much more important than I know many of you are getting at the moment. But when you stop speaking in this way, you will realize then how absolutely discordant these things are when you hear them in others. I guarantee it. Stop speaking this way, and when you hear others speak this way, politely correct them unless you are in front of an audience and you would embarrass them and ruin a relationship with them. But otherwise, politely correct them and move on with helping them to go free. If there are any questions about that during the rest of the time that we are together, ladies and gentlemen, please list those in the live chat and I will try to address them. If you have any examples for me, please list those in the live chat as well. I am just checking some messages that I'm having coming in right now. Yeah, someone is messaging me, and I'm trying to remember what the actual, if I remember what send me a message about what the incident was, the success you had. Oh, yes. Okay, so one of our participants in our community, excuse me, this is a success story, and I'll just tell it right now rather than with the some of the positive statements. I'm going to read it briefly in a bit, and that is that woman that's in this community, participant and avidly going free, has a relative who is probably like most of you, like all of us, I guess, have relatives that are anti-white. Excuse me. And this relative was in town. This relative was, I don't want to give away too much information because I don't want to adversely or potentially adversely impinge on this person's life, this person's home situation. But this relative was in the presence of this woman's children, and this woman who's a participant in our community, using the lexicon and dialectics that we teach here, going free. Another great success story here, ladies and gentlemen. She had said something that about how, just a very general statement, not about enjoying our Western heritage. Nothing that one could even really say is white positive. Just something that wasn't white negative, something that wasn't anti-white. And so just sort of a neutral thing about enjoying Western heritage or celebrating Western heritage. And this relative decided to say to this woman's children that non-white races are really cool, and don't be, and then she filled in with this anti-white slur that she used, the word racist. Don't be a racist, children. So how would you respond? How do you think the average white positive person in the white positive sphere, any part of it, how do you think they would respond to that statement? In most cases, in nearly all cases, their response is going to be a losing response. Instead of a losing response in front of her children, which this is where it is most important. This is where it matters. Instead of a losing response, she said to this relative, "No, you will not use that anti-white slur with my children." And you know what happened? That relative froze, didn't know how to respond to anti-white slur. What do you mean? I'm not anti-white. Immediately on this relative, immediately on the heels, immediately backtracking, immediately apologizing, gone from one moment being that hero on top of the white horse, admonishing the children. If you even consider a good feeling, a good sentiment about our Western heritage, then that is immoral. That is wrong, because that's what this relative was saying. Merely having a positive sentiment about Western heritage needed to be, by this anti-white bastard, criticized and then admonished not to be immoral, because that's what this relative was saying, that the children would be immoral if they showed interest or care or celebrated their heritage, and went from being what they thought was on top of this white horse coming in to force this anti-white morality, this immorality on these children, went from being this, in their own mind, this hero, to suddenly riding, instead of that great white stallion, riding an ass and backtracking on that thing as fast as that relative could. No, it's not anti-white. No, I wouldn't use an anti-white slur. I don't think that and then the woman in our community stood her ground. It absolutely is an anti-white slur, and you will never use it again in the presence of my children. That is how you all have to behave, especially around our children. Don't ever allow some anti-white pig, some anti-white bitch, to use anti-white slurs in the presence of your or even their children. You stand up for white children wherever they are, just as I do. So big round of applause to this woman for doing the right thing and demonstrating that when you use the lexicon and the dialectics that we teach here, Going Free, you win in those critical moments. Think about how critical those moments were. What would those children have come away from that conversation thinking if she did not have this lexicon that day? They would have come away from it thinking that it is immoral to even mention Western civilization and any sort of remembrance in any way other than shame and guilt. That's another thing she said. You're not going to white guilt my children. So that is the way we should be behaving. So I salute that woman in this community I hope we all do. I hope you all will behave the same way and you will have the same victories. You stand, it is eminently moral, because it is eminently moral to stand up for white well-being, because it is eminently moral for a Jew to stand up for Jew well-being, for an Asian to stand up for Asian well-being. It is eminently moral. The only one sick in that equation is that anti-white, and in this case, a white anti-white, put right in the place that an anti-white should be put, right on the back of an ass, heading right out of town. So thank you very much for that. So, and so much there too. That can be, that I don't want to make this a long stream, so we're just trying to get through. But so much there to think about. What's going through the mind of an anti-white? They hear someone just mention something really neutral. I don't remember what the exact statement was, but it was very neutral. It wasn't like we are setting Western celebrations up, or Western heritage is XYZ relative to non-white heritage. No sort of comparison. No, just nothing of that sort. Just something very neutral, like we like celebrating our European holidays or something like this. And that anti-white felt the need to say that, well, I'll tell you what, I think that non-whites are really cool, and kids, don't be racist. If I could use the language I'd like to use right now about that pig, you know damn well and good that if this relative was riding in the car with non-white people, and the non-white parent said to the non-white children, we really like celebrating, let's just say, our African heritage, this non-white relative would not say to the black children, well, you know what, black kids, white people are really cool too. Don't be racist. Absolutely despicable. Just fills me with disgust. Such people. So let's talk about, let's briefly talk about the election results in the UK, so that all of you folks in the UK can go to sleep. And I will take a look at what everybody has written in the chat right afterward. I don't have a lot to say, because what I'm going to say here is what you need to know. You don't need to know anymore, because it's like wasting your time talking about politics and this little intrigue here and that little intrigue there and this little corruption here and that big corruption there and this big scandal here and a potential big scandal there, and what with the rules of this house of government can be done relative to that house of government that can be done. It is all bullshit. It is all a waste of your time. It all is absolutely it is as meaningless as talking about sports ball all day long. It is as meaningless as knowing about all the batting averages or all the cricket averages, whatever they're called with that sport, or all of the American football statistics for this or that athlete, and knowing in the rules in this specific case. It is that lame. And you are that lame if you are indulging that material. You need to hear it. I'm not going to coddle you, because I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you go free. So if you are deep enmeshed in this political stuff, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, man or woman, you're a loser. You need to leave that garbage alone. Put your focus on the things that matter, the things that you can effectuate in your life. Your opinion about what intrigue here or there isn't worth a nickel. Your thoughts about what can or can't be done in this department of government versus that department of government don't mean squat. You are wasting your time, and you are as foolish as those who are wasting their time with sports ball. I see you as just the same. Get a goddamn jersey. Get a jersey for the political party or whatever it is that you want to talk about. This is what you need to know. Okay, the Conservatives won in the UK. Boris Johnson. Labour totally collapsed. So that can tell you a little bit about, you could just use logic. So people are not liking especially in these areas that were staunchly labor, and they are fracturing now, and they are not as staunchly labor as they used to be. What is it about the newest labor promises? What is it about the promises that they have kept that are coming to fruition that are aggravating the people there? And as a consequence, how can you get to them with white well-being? That is what you should be thinking. That is how you should be thinking about it. So, of course, if there wasn't the Brexit party there, the conservatives would have done even better. And Mark Collette put it best when he said, the conservatives are taking us over the cliff at 40, and the Labour is taking us over the cliff at 80 in the UK. Absolutely right. Both bad for us. This is all you need to know when it comes to the dichotomy that is presented to you when it comes to more radically anti-white or less radically anti-white, because that's all it is. All the parties are anti-white. Are they going to be more anti-white or a little less anti-white? All you need to know is this. If they are more anti-white, and the reason why you need to know is because your mission is not to sit around and babble at each other, squawk at each other like fools about all of these little things in politics that you can't do anything about. Your job is to spread white well-being. So what you need to know about politics is this. When the more radically anti-white parties win, that means that we are running out of time. Time is shrinking for us. But at the same time, the soil gets richer. People are going to be more amenable to the doctrine of going free than they otherwise would be. So if the more radically anti-whites win in an area, especially an area that used to be more conservative, say, or less radically anti-white, you know that those folks are moving a direction that is shortening our time that we have to get white well-being to as many folks as possible. And that by shortening the time, it's going to make it easier to spread the message of white well-being. On the other end of this so-called spectrum is the less radically anti-white, the conservatives in the UK. What does that mean for us spreading white well-being? What it means is this. If the conservatives win, it means we have more time to spread white well-being, to reach people with going free, because, as Mark said, they're going at 40 miles an hour relative to 80 miles an hour toward the cliff. But it also means that it's going to be harder on a one-on-one basis or a one-to-audience basis to reach people with the message of going free. You have to craft the message differently depending on the populace, your audience, what they're currently voting for, where their state of mind is. Why is it harder when you get somebody in office or a party in office that is less radically anti-white? The reason why is because the population, these vagues, put their hope in the politicians they voted for. And when they get elected, they just turn the light switch off. I briefly attended, because I don't have much time, as you all know, but I briefly attended a party where there were a lot of vagues. This was not a in the white positive sphere. This is just general vague environment, workers. And I had an opportunity to, once again, like many of the times throughout my life, to talk with these people and ask them, what do they like sociopolitically? What do they not like? This is what it is. It's the same for every political party across the world within the West. They know only superficialities, nothing more. So all of this deep political discussion, let's go deep on what this policy and how it's affecting this or that or whatever, is such a goddamn waste of time that it infuriates me. I spoke with maybe nearly 40 different people at this party. And I spoke to people who were hard Trump supporters and people who were hard Trump haters. And what did they know about Trump? What did they know about what's going on in politics? The same thing like the average vague in the UK when it comes to Labour or the Conservatives there or the Brexit Party. It could not get more superficial. Trump loves the military. He loves business. What more do you want? What more do you want? Can't get a better president than that. Really, well, what has he done that you actually are impressed with? What policies has he implemented that you are aware of that you think are working or not working, kind of working? Well, I don't know exactly the different things. I know that, he really is putting a lot of money in the military. I know that he loves law enforcement. And then you talk to the anti-Trumpers and hate Trump. Really, what is it about what Trump is doing or has done or is about to do that you really hate him for? Fill in the anti-white slur. That's it. Really? Well, do you know anything that he's actually done that would satisfy that accusation? Well, I kind of heard something over here. Everybody knows he's a liar. So it's always so that's it. Democracy, if you haven't figured this out, all of you bright bulbs out there that continue to have so many ears and eyes on you, if you haven't figured this out yet, democracy is won by the largest number of people who vote for a particular way. And what does that large number of people know about the parties and the people that they're voting for? Jack squat. That's what they know. So all of your discussion about whether you think it's this or that, or let's go deeper because I think it's probably this intrigue and then that and all is more of a waste of time than trying to come up with a way to hold back the sea with your hands. I mean, it is the dumbest thing. And that anybody tunes in and listens to this shit just boggles my mind. Especially when there is nothing you can do in the world to make any change in it. So if you want to be a participant, if you want to be a player, if you want to be anything other than a fool and look like a fool and waste your time, just like the people watching sports ball, then look at politics for all you need to know. In my area, you could say for example, in Virginia, we can say that the anti-whites have won. They absolutely run the state of Virginia. That means we have less time in Virginia to get the message of white well-being out to the people than we would have if the less anti-white party had won. But it also means that people are going to be more amenable. Their ears are going to be open. Their eyes are going to be open to alternatives like going free, more so than if the less radically anti-white party had been put into office. That's all you need to know about politics. And that is all I will say on that. I'll take a look at I hope I offended some people, because people doing that need to be offended. JC Stalling says, it's the same thing when people call the left progressives. Nothing the anti-whites do is progress. That's their term. Perfectly stated. We were just talking about that out of Go Free, not talking like an anti-white, not using their verbiage. Don't ever refer to an anti-white by the name of their taking, ever. They're not liberals. They're not progressives. They're not any of that. They are anti-whites. They're not feminists. They're not Chicano nationalists. They're not black nationalists. They're anti-whites. Don't call them anything but anti-whites. Very well said, JC. Perfectly on the ball. All right, that is from the gardening. Let's check over here. We have Rodebert Hildebrand super chatting 100 Norwegian krona. Writing, just want to wish you Merry Christmas, Jason. Hope to see you on the Red Ice Yule stream. Remember, we never give up. Amen, brother. We never do. And I love Henrik and Lana more than you can possibly imagine. And I look forward to every moment I get to spend with them. They are marvelous people. I truly believe they are the king and queen of the white positive sphere. And they are raising we're rearing the little prince right now. Marsha is here. Great to see you, Marsha. Let's see. Dr. Jellyfingers has shown up. Good to see you. Bigot Smalls writes, gasp. Ooga Booga writes, I hope you did, Jason. Probably when I said I hope I offended someone. Red Eagle asks when there's going to be a White Wellbeing jersey. You're wearing it if you're white, brother. Justin Lee, great to see you and writing about democracy. 51% can tell the 49% what to do. Exactly. And folks, these vast numbers of people, they don't know anything that you imagine they know when it comes to politics. If you dig into politics deeply, I worked in the Nerve Center of the Conservative Movement on the Hill, and I can tell you, I left there because I saw what's really going on in politics. There is no hope in hell. Elaine Sabatino is here. Thank you for all the hearts and smiley faces with hearts for eyes. That's wonderful. Great participant in our community. Did I mention the great Ryan Manley? He's here. DJ in the UK, £5. Thank you so much. Do you think we got a big and long battle ahead of us, brother? Well, a rhetorical battle, yes. There is no sign, no context at the moment for any sort of physical battle, but we do have an absolutely psychological battle. We have a psychological battle for the battle over the minds of our people. Ladies and gentlemen, if you at any moment think that the struggle for the thoughts in someone's head is not important, know that the government spends billions over the span that they've been working on it, brainwashing, controlling the thoughts of populations. May or may not be true. Make sure you approach and ask the nearest fat-haired or fat, pink-haired anti-white at YouTube to find out whether or not that's true or not. But the United States government and all governments around the world spend massive sums of money. They hire the brightest people to work on the ideas that they can use, the lexicon, the arguments that they can use to keep populations in line. Why? Because it's a lot easier to control people by controlling their thoughts than it is to point a gun at them. So this battle is far more important, especially in a context where there's no possibility of physical violence. There's no hope in hell of any contest with, as I said last week, even your local gangs, much less your county government or your state government or your federal government. Give me a break. Uga Buga writes, I may know White Guilt, you may already know, but the Third Rail guys mentioned your excellent approach to countering the anti-white narrative on their latest show. It's at the 1 minute 37 or 1 hour 37 minute mark. I did not know that, and thank you for sharing that with me, actually. If you know my email or you can DM me on Twitter, please do so with that. I'd like to hear what they had to say. Sorby Torm writes, No White Guilt. Hello to you. Great to see you. Let's see. And from Sorby Torm, £5. How do we reverse the outgroup preference found amongst certain white people? Thank you very much for that kind investment. And did I mention, I don't think I mentioned, the familiar alternative is also working again, ladies and gentlemen. And you can also super chat over there at 6%. I don't think I mentioned it earlier. So how do we reverse the outgroup preference found amongst certain white people? Well, I wish I knew exactly what white people you're talking about when you're asking about this. The focus on non-white peoples is has complex motivators that are born of the mean pathogens that our people are infected with. So by addressing the mean pathogens, the MPs that they are infected with, which we teach you to do in Go Free, you will free them of this desire to do what? The reason why they're focusing on the outgroup, they are doing what? Does anybody know? They are attempting to make amends. They are attempting to unload some of that white guilt that the mean pathogens keep them guilted with. They're attempting to free themselves of a little bit of that white noir. So that focus on the welfare of other groups to the detriment of our group is a coping mechanism that is exactly what the anti-whites want to have happen. And so we have to say, what is at the root of what's causing them to feel like they have to unload white guilt, that they even have white guilt? And once we address those root sources, these people will then focus in a much more healthy way on the well-being of our people. So the entirety of the process of going free is what helps people to stop focusing on other groups and, in fact, putting those groups ahead of us in a way that is detrimental to us. Because make no mistake, the anti-whites don't have any program in place that benefits non-white people without harming us. Many times, Republicans in the United States have put forward ideas, suggestions, programs to benefit different non-white groups like blacks or Hispanics or what have you. And they can show with reason, logic, and evidence in where similar programs have been instantiated, implemented, and successful. They can show, look, these programs are much more successful for these groups than the ones you have in place. The Democrats, who are more anti-white than the Republicans, always shoot these down. And the Republicans and the conservatives, all these people that support them, they walk away shaking their head like imbeciles, saying, I don't get it. I don't understand. These programs are actually better for these groups that the Democrats claim to want to help. So why won't they use these programs? Well, because the reason is not to benefit these non-white groups. The reason is to harm you, dipstick. Trying not to cuss. The reason is to harm you. So the program is in place to harm you. The fact that it helps them is just a way to, the fact that it helps a particular non-white group is just a way to rope that non-white group into the infernal coalition of anti-whites against us. So it makes perfect sense when you're smart enough and you're brave enough to accept what's going on in the real world. If you're not smart enough and you're not brave enough, then you're going to end up waddling around like one of these conservatives or nationalist idiots, scratching your head all day long, just not able to understand why in this case, they call themselves Democrats, act this way. Well, we know exactly why they act this way. So let's see, what else do we have here? Thank you very much for that question as well. And my mods, if I have missed any super chats on YouTube, that you've seen go by, please let me know. Saul asks, have I any knowledge of Ireland? If so, what do I see in the future for it? It's very similar to the rest of the West. I mean, we see in all of these scenarios that the different countries are on, that they are in different places on the timeline of heading from countries that we envisioned, created, fought for, blood for, died for, got maimed for, enriched, magnified, everything that one can imagine, from that origin all the way up to if we stay on the pages of the anti-white narrative, to a very grisly conclusion for us. So the different countries are on different parts in this story, and the thing that makes it a bit more complicated to try to accurately predict is that they have different rates at which they're moving toward that grisly conclusion. And they have, the populations are in different states, they have different histories, different things that can unify them or break them apart. Ultimately, though, when it comes to Ireland, it comes to all of the countries of the West, all of the things that could potentially unite our peoples in our countries, if they do not have the lexicon and the dialectics to free themselves of anti-whiteism and to inoculate themselves against anti-whiteism, they are doomed to failure. Could you imagine, and how awful would it be if some nationalist group got started in some Western country and they were somehow, by some miracle of fate, they wrestle control of the country away from the anti-whites, away from the anti-white bankers and everything else? How awful would it be if within 2, 3, 4, 5 years, those populations are already succumbing to the anti-white doctrine nonetheless? Well, we love our country, and we are going to, because we believe it to be moral to be anti-white, we are going to do XYZ that is still going to result in harm to our people. How horrific would that be? It would be far worse than all the faith that was put in Donald Trump, only to have him now serve Israel with greater alacrity and enthusiasm than anything else he does. So all of these groups, national groups, or all of these ideas, all of these flags, all of these customs, all of these religions, all of these things, the shared histories that could bind different groups of our people in any of these countries, they are all utterly feckless if they are not empowered against anti-whiteism in a language, a specific language that resists it and cures it. Arguments that resist it and cure it. It is a waste of time otherwise. They'll be right back in control of the country in no time. You know how long it took for the bankers to move in and take over the United States as soon as it seceded from the Britain? And then they threw them out, and then took it over again, and then they threw them out, and then took it over again. Because human beings are fallible. You need a population empowered with these ideas, so that the moment somebody says, I really would like all that money from these bankers, or I really would like XYZ from these bankers, they then have to worry about an entire constituency, a secretary even in their own office, a butler in their own home, slitting their throat for betraying their country. That is the only way, is that you have a population so empowered by going free that the highest morality for them is white well-being. And anything that gets between our people and white well-being is the deepest and blackest of immorality. No argument. If the United States had been empowered by going free, there would never have been an opportunity for a 1965 Immigration Act. It would not have been possible. You would not have been able to say to anyone without serious repercussion, and I mean of all types. You would not have been able to say, that's just going to let a couple of people who are really valuable and they're down and out and we really should help them out. It's not going to change anything at all. Nobody would have bought that. They would have seen straight through that. They would have said, fine, you want to help these people? Let's help them where they live. Let's serve an example to them where they live. Let's send folks over, teach them how to do the things that we know how to do. It would have been a completely different outcome. What would have happened in the government? What did Andrew Jackson in the United States have to do? How did he have to behave? He was obviously driven by the biospirit of Western kind. God loved that man. It worked through him with 10 times the power of any Holy Spirit. For 80 years, we had freedom in this country because of that man's ferocity. Because of his love that drove that passion. We have a population like that, nothing can stop us. You have some other kind of revolution united around whatever tribe it is, whatever hill or whatever, and everybody unites because that's their history, and you all will be sold down the river in 10 years. I guarantee it. All right, so let's move on, and then we'll take a look at these. I don't want this stream to go very long. Let's talk about something that is fantastic, and that is the money has arrived from John. He promised $50. I talk regularly about in service to white well-being. We never support shame here. When someone does something in the service of white well-being, we pat them on the back in any way that we possibly can. If it's $1, we pat them on the back with $1. If it is only a kind word, we pat them on the back with a kind word, a deep felt and honest thank you for what their time, their talents, what they offered all of us. No support shaming. Wherever anybody supports shames, you're talking to a fool or an anti-white, and just get rid of them immediately. No support shaming whatsoever. So John decided to step up and be a hero. And he said, yeah, he wants to pat each of these artists, each of these content creators that have been creating art in the service of white well-being. And he wants to throw his name out there. By the way, I just also remembered, let me see, there's a YouTube channel. Is it Bulgaria? If you could write me, if you're listening right now, I will mention your YouTube channel where she's putting up a number of my videos as well, or she will be posting on her channel, and I will mention the name of that YouTube channel. So please message me, and I'll put it up because I'm missing it right now. But John decided he did a couple things. He started passing out leaflets regularly. He's still doing that. He printed up 10,000 leaflets at his own out of his own pocket. And out of his own pocket have shipped some of those to me. Some of those are on the behind me. And I am shipping them out to those who want them free to distribute in your communities, of course, in lawful areas, on lawful billboards or wherever you can place them. I will ship them out to you, as I have to a number of people who have reached out. And God bless you all. So his $50 came in. He wanted to give $5 to 10 different artists, to 10 different content creators. And I was to select them. So I selected 10. And here are the 10 that are going to be receiving small donations from John. And if we could get a round of applause from John, that is a tremendous thing that he has done here and continues to do. And we should be acknowledging each other for these efforts that we make in service to white well-being. The 10 artists are Snow Shadow, For Null, Jack White, Donald Kent, Uberfolk, which is Kat and George, Olivia Key, Outrageously Inoffensive, Hyrith, Johnny Scythe, and finally, you know, Luke Mason, who is in the process of making an album dedicated to Prometheus Rising, a book that you will find in Born Guilty. He is telling the story with his music. He has done 2 pieces already, working on the 3rd piece. And all of these people are great stars in the white positive sphere, rising stars. Look to see far more quality content from them. Very excited about their contributions and very grateful to everything that these wonderful people are doing in service to white well-being. Let's take a quick look at some positive comments. Let me get a drink. Budapest Babe. Didn't I remember something last week while I was drinking? I did. Leprechaun. Budapest Babe. That is the YouTube channel. I hope she's still up and running. So if you get an opportunity, follow that YouTube channel. We'll be posting some clips from different Going Free streams. I think from all of the streams we're doing here. So thank you very much for that. Underhill says, Jason drinks a special memory elixir. That seems to be how it works. Popcorn says, No Miguel has a water problem. I drink too much water? All right. By the way, a big thank you to the lovely woman. She is a very attractive lady who, and a kind, sweet woman who acquired these cardinals for me that are over my shoulder. And big thank you to her for that kind Christmas gift. Thank you. So let's read these positive comments. And I'm going to have to find one on my phone because I didn't have time to, I don't think it'll be hard to find it, but I didn't have time to, see, wasn't hard to find. So we have here Magdalene, who wrote, Born Guilty really is a great book. It was one of the first things that opened my eyes to notice the anti-white agenda. I definitely recommend reading it, especially if you are new to this stuff. Thank you very much for that kind endorsement of the book. And I hope many will take your advice and will then go free as a consequence. Art Acrobats wrote, I just bought your books, Go Free and Born Guilty. I can't wait to read them. I finally have an effective lexicon to use in conversations with the anti-whites. You will absolutely find that it is a very effective tool. It works. We talked about a woman earlier who it worked for, absolutely shut down a relative that otherwise, this woman was almost, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, almost in tears by the fact that she was able to win that contest so completely for her children. Just please learn Going Free. Learn how to go free, treat your mean pathogens, and start spreading this while we have the time. If somebody like a Mr. Pie came along and said, here's all the money you need, because he has all the money I need, trust me, to make this happen, and just give these books away and proselytize all day long with these books, that's what I would do. We don't have that, so we have to rely on each other, working class folks. We've done it in the past. We've done it throughout history. We've locked arms before, and we have defeated the infinitely wealthy time and again, and we will do that again. And rest assured, as soon as enough of us lock arms together, suddenly you'll start seeing those wealthy folks trickle in. No, let me get with you guys quickly before you stampede and destroy everything in front of you. Cal Ciffer writes, I've bought and read both your books and regularly use your lexicon to great success. The greatest video I've ever seen on your channel, Minotaur of Rebellion, Rebellion's Mommy, Will I Always Be White? I've shared that I don't know how many times. And ladies and gentlemen, that if one of the mods could please post the link to that video, watch that video, share that video as widely as you can. Minotaur of Rebellion took my passion, my frustration, and made it into something 1,000 times more powerful than I could ever make it. All the gratitude, all the thanks goes to Minotaur of Rebellion, that magnificent piece, not to me, to Minotaur of Rebellion. Get it out to your friends and family. They will see it. I can't even, I don't know how many, dozens of people wrote saying that they couldn't stop crying after watching that. So get that. It would be criminal for us to not get that out to as many people as possible. And when it has the success that it will have, make sure you thank Minotaur of Rebellion for what he did, for the service to white well-being. Truly a absolutely magical thing when you can reduce people to tears like that. So let me read this. This is by the great Johnny Scythe, by the way. Johnny Scythe writes, tonight I was waiting for a friend in a bar in town when a drunk guy approached me. He's asking questions about where I was from. It was pretty obvious of my accent and what I do for a living. Being polite, I engaged him for a bit. After a quick discussion, I turned the question to him and asked him what he does. He tells me where he works, and I ask if he likes his job, and he doesn't. He works for a tax office. I ask him what would he want to do instead. He says he doesn't know. Having worked there for nearly 5 years, I asked what his dream job was when he was growing up. He started to falter at this point and was unsure how to answer. I probed further and get him to think about his dream job. After some thought, he told me he would have loved to become a vet. I asked him why he didn't. He replied saying he didn't think he was smart enough. I told him that he had the bio spirit in him to become anything he dreamt of, and if he is willing to commit his time. I told him that at this moment, the only thing that stops him from achieving his dream goal of being a vet was his view of himself, and he should reflect on why he is in a job he dislikes and not striving to achieve his own goals in life. He's now looking more sober and has become quite reflective. I tell him he is part of Western kind who went out and built Western civilization by sticking to their dreams. And if his people could do that, he can become a vet. After this, he has become quite silent and introspective. I tell him not to wait to achieve his destiny, as he already has the biospirit of Western kind to guide him. And the only thing he is stopping that manifesting is him. He nods silently and walks back to his seat. And Johnny, the great Johnny Scythe, winds up this message by saying, so it turns out that the verbiage you can get from going free by no white guilt turns you into a Jedi to make people rethink their lives. Bless you, brother, for that testimony. That is magnificent. And every time I hear something like this, God, it just fills me with excitement and elation and gratitude. I can't thank you enough, Johnny, for empowering yourself and then passing that on to this gentleman. This is the curative contagion. This, rather than talk of civil war, rather than talk of this political party or that political party, this is what's changing lives. This is what will save our people. Let's not wait another day. Let's do this. We are going to watch a magnificent video by our very own Jared George and Philosophicat that we premiered here on my channel. And they played quite a little while back. This is The Land of Free Shipping. And once it finishes, we will come back and continue our discussion here on Going Free.
All right, I still don't quite understand what's going on. I just wanted to take the items on my wish list and convert them into a sale, and I keep getting the same error message.
Yeah, we have a block on your order.
Well, it was all in stock.
Well, there are items on your order that go against our terms of service.
How do you list something on your site that you can't sell?
Well, legally, we do have to offer them for now because, well, we haven't figured out a way to clone Ruth Bader Ginsburg yet.
Yeah, what's the problem? Are they delayed?
With cloning RBG?
No, not with cloning RBG. Try having conversations about politics outside of Starbucks. I mean, are my items, what we're talking about in this conversation, delayed?
No, not technically, but there's a delay in consent.
Yeah, I consented to buy them, and I need to know they're going to arrive in time. A lot of them are gifts.
Well, let me explain. I'm your consent advisor.
Is that like the consent at my cousin's college?
A little different, but maybe similar in that I'm here to make sure you don't unintentionally hurt anyone, including yourself.
This is about the knives. It's a kitchen set. I know you don't allow people to buy that in the UK anymore, but I'm in America.
Those are the least of our concerns.
Well, good. That's part of a gift for my wife's birthday.
Kitchen knives? Do you guys know we offer automated food delivery?
Yeah, we like home-cooked meals, thank you.
Do you help your wife with the cooking?
I know my way around a kitchen, but it's not really my thing. I get bored cooking.
Well, it's not fair if she does something you don't.
Yeah, she doesn't work on power lines for a living like I do. Can we get back, please, to why my items are delayed?
Well, as I said, I need to advise you on your consent.
I consented to buy them. I put them on my credit card.
Well, I need to confirm you really want them and understand the consequences. For example, you ordered several books that prominently mention White Wellbeing. That term is on our watch list.
What a joke. My God, I figured your company's keeping tabs. That's crazy. That's just a term about being happy and healthy with who you are.
Well, it's not just our company's watch list. We're overseen by the Ministry of Responsible Consumption.
Oh my God. It sounds like something from 1984.
Actually, it was created in 2011, but no one knew for a while. Like I said, I have to know you really want these books because you'll be closely monitored.
Yeah, I figured I'm being monitored already. It's okay.
Why did you order several copies of each book?
I want to give some to my friends and family.
Oh, spreading disinformation gets you on another part of this list.
Why are you telling me all this then?
Like I said, there are unfortunately still certain laws. We're still extracting genes from frozen Ruth.
I want the books.
Well, I have to first offer alternative suggestions. How about something by Tim Wise or Al Sharpton?
No.
Don't you want to understand other perspectives?
All the movies and media and books, my whole life are the other perspectives. I've been swimming in the other perspectives my whole life. You're swimming all the time in the other perspectives.
Actually, I'm very open-minded.
Yeah, you know what? I do want to change my order now that I think about it.
Oh, I'm glad to see you came to your senses. I'll cancel everything.
Yeah, I actually want to add a copy of each book and have it sent to your address. Consider it my gift to you.
No, I can't do that.
Well, why not? I thought you were open-minded.
I can't be seen with those books.
They come in a nondescript cardboard boxes, you know.
I don't accept gifts, okay? What about the rifle case you ordered?
It's a gift for my friend Pete. You see his address there? I'm having it sent to him.
And what will Pete be using this for?
To put his rifle in it when he goes hunting into the shooting range.
Right. I'll be adding both you and Pete to the pre-terrorist list.
Okay, I'm calling my lawyer.
It's just a pre-terrorist list.
Everything I'm ordering is sensible and legal. This is crazy.
Well, I'm trying to give you a chance, but you're just not getting it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting anything.
Well, admitting it is the first step. I can transfer you to our partners at the Cultural Adjustment Ministry who can start you with counseling and re-education. It's great. I did it.
No, I'm not getting the items. The books are available elsewhere. I'll make the other stuff. I'll make my own damn gifts if I have to. Cancel my order. Delete my information from your system.
Well, I'll cancel your order, but I can't delete your info. You're already on the watch list.
From wish list to watch list. Okay, fine. Whatever, fine.
Oh, one more thing. Can I email you a brief survey to ask how I did today in assisting you?
No, I don't consent to that. But I have one more thing for you.
Yes.
Have fun training a replacement in the Philippines.
What a magnificent piece by these two wonderful people. People I am very proud of. I am Jared George and Philosophicat. If you are not already And that is what happens when you lose connection. So I wonder if we are still broadcasting. Let me see. Oh, for the love of God. I guess nothing is coming through yet. Oh, looks like gardening channel is working again. Where exactly did it go down? Can anybody tell me? Was I speaking yet when it went down? Did it go down during Jared George and Philosophicats? Skit. Well, well. It appears that we are back in some places, not back in others. If you can hear me on No Why Guilt channel or on gardening channel, please let me know. Oddly enough, there was a very strange sound outside and sounded like some sort of demon animal. Some sort of demon animal sound outside. And then the internet was gone. So perhaps something chewed its way through something it should not have chewed its way through. Or perhaps the system. Uga Booga says you can hear me. There's Fernal is here. Hadn't seen you yet. Seaver Hamlin says it all looks great. It all looks great, Jason. So where did the stream die? That's my question, so that I can figure out, did the skit by the great Jared George and Philosophicat, did it play all the way through? And if so, let's go ahead and continue. Syntheside, asking if I'm okay. I'm fine. Some animal outside might not be fine, but I'm fine. Just after skit, Sorby says. All right, thank you. Died right after the skit. Yes, indeed. Okay, thank you, everybody. Well, then, good. We got through that magnificent skit. All I was saying when the animal decided to let out that horrific screech outside, it sounds a bit like the male foxes when they are calling out their territory, the sound that they make. And then all of a sudden, I started talking and the stream was gone. All of the internet was gone. Ooga Booga says, thought the FBI may have kicked your door and took you to Gulag. Well, I sure hope that day doesn't come. But you'll know if it does, because it'll be loud. Poseidon is here. Great to see you, my good brother. It says a great mug. Yes, I do have my Poseidon mug today. Let's get back on track. I wanted to quickly talk about, just briefly, and then we're going to get into this Sydney person and have some fun with that. And we're going to wrap up tonight. And that is this. Trump's executive order that now identifies Jews as a people is it's really interesting. I haven't heard people specifically talk about my thoughts on this. I guess I haven't heard anybody address these particular thoughts that I want to share. And essentially, what's happened is, on the surface, Trump has signed an executive order to open up more tools in the federal, state governments, specifically federal government, obviously, but this is always trickles its way through departments and other branches of government and other governance as well. And what it does is it opens up access to the use of more tools to punish those individuals and organizational entities, colleges, universities that permit criticism of Jews. And so by identifying them now, bringing this idea that, I guess, Judaism is now a people. And of course, there are some Jews who are saying they don't want this, other Jews who are saying it is fantastic that now that you can't criticize them at universities anymore because the federal government can punish the universities, rescind their funding, this sort of thing, which of course, once these entities start taking the funding, they can never stop. There's always strings attached. If you're going to take these many millions of dollars, you have to do X, Y, or Z. They agree to that at first. And then it's like the mafia. The mafia comes back around and then they say, well, it's going to be a little harsher now. We're going to add these other things that you have to do, or we're going to take this money that you now become dependent upon. We're going to take it away. Like the mafia, like a drug dealer or anything like that. That is exactly how the federal government functions in this respect. So, of course, the first Israeli president of the United States, the Blacks Built America president of the United States, moves heaven and earth once again to help out this totally powerless group, this group that just has constantly put down, just constantly everybody is oppressed everywhere they go. There's eviscerated. There's nothing anybody can. It's just nothing anybody can do to stop this. Everywhere you look, there's just nothing but oppression for the Jewish people, and they have no ability to resist any of it. So thank God that Trump rode in at the 11th hour in this speech I heard where, I don't know, where was he, at the ADL, and he's talking about how in this country, our country, this is not verbatim, but it's close. In this country, our country, people don't love Israel enough. No shit. You were elected to serve this country, not to get people to love Israel more. And then he went on to say there are even Jews who don't love Israel. So he was talking about the American population. And they're just because if they loved Israel more, they would be more willing to sacrifice more of our blood, more of our toil, more of our dignity, more of our lives for the retaliation of those that the United States goes and exterminates, fires these hellfire missiles into wedding parties. And they think, well, nothing's going to happen. This state wants to have its hegemony. And by God, if you don't want to do it, then that means you're anti-Jewish. You hate all Jewish people. You probably want something horrible to happen to Jewish people. So you better not ever criticize anything a Jewish person does, because by God, Donald Trump is going to make sure that the full weight of the federal government of the United States is going to come down on you for criticizing this absolutely powerless group. Thank God he came through for them. Not a thing for us, but thank God he came through for this powerless group. I'm just getting so sick and tired of this kowtowing, this sycophantic, bitch-like behavior. And this guy, he's done more for these people than Bush and Obama combined. Ran on this America first, when really if it was honest, it would have been saying Israel first on every banner that they put up. We're going to spend money for them to have walls. We're going to move government structures. We're going to recognize just one thing after another. One thing after another. So you can't criticize them. So the question is that nobody's talking about, at least that I haven't heard anybody talk. Maybe others have. And more power to them if they have. Is that why now? Is it just that folks are criticizing Israel, and haven't folks always criticized Israel? Why now? Why is it such a big thing to say legally that Jews are a people? This was something that, if you were a Jewish person could, and Lord knows I'm not suggesting any Jewish person ever did this, but it could have worked quite well. Because sometimes you could say, well, I'm religious. Judaism, you can't punish me. No religious persecution. And then the next day you could say, I'm white, so I should be, permitted X, Y, and Z. I should be in the group. I should be in the club. I'm a white guy. And then other times it's, no, I'm atheist. I don't practice Judaism. I'm not part of any of that. And sometimes they say, well, I'm Mormon. And then the next day it's back to, well, I'm Jewish. I'm part of the Jewish people. So, if there was an unscrupulous Jewish person out there, and Lord knows that it would be hard to find one, if there were one out there, then they could have used that pretty well for themselves. They could have really maneuvered really well with that sort of lateral ability. But now you have them, federal government of the United States, saying, no, this is a people. This is a legally identifiable people. And so why now? It's not because, in my opinion, that Jews are being criticized at universities, or specifically Jews who support Israel, or specifically the country of Israel, or specifically Israeli Jews, whatever. It's because modern DNA identified by the white race, researched by the white race, the big secrets, the unzipping of the genetic code. Of course, this may or may not be true. You just have to ask the walrus working at YouTube whether or not it's true, because she will tell you through her mustache whether it's true or not. But DNA has been and continues to be unraveled. And as soon as DNA was being unraveled, you saw there were business opportunities available for those with the money and the connections to make businesses out of the business opportunity. I was one of those people who saw the business opportunity for this technology, this new ability to look into the DNA. And of course, I didn't have the money to make it happen. Plenty of you out there have had ideas that if you had the money to make it happen, you'd be millionaires today. If you had been non-white, if you had and been able to take advantage of programs in the federal government that takes out of my pocket and puts into non-white pockets, even if you were a white woman, plenty of opportunity out there. You could have gone to the federal government. They would steal from me and give to you so that you could start your business. They would do everything they could to help you get ahead. But of course, I wasn't going to receive that help being a white male. And so I couldn't make anything out of it. But there were people out there that did have money and could make something of the opportunity with the information, with this new technology of looking into genetics. And what was that? Well, it was going to be able to say things like, where are you from? What racial groups are you a member of, or racial group? What is your heritage? And what kind of diseases lurk in your DNA? And further, tell your eye color. We can tell whether you have fast twitch muscle fibers in your muscles and how many you have, what kind of percentage there is. Everything is in there, ladies and gentlemen. All of that was an absolute cornucopia of financial gain if you had the money to set up the business, start taking people's DNA in, doing the little tests that need to be done, most of it done by machinery now, and then sending the info back to them. Virtually very little money would have to go into the regular running of the business, and tons of money to pour in. Great business opportunities. Well, there was something that happened there with that big business opportunity. And that little thing that happened was kind of took away that ability for someone who may have been unscrupulous and may have been a Jewish person to be able to say, well, I'm a people. No, I'm a white race. I'm persecuted non-white race. Oh, I'm a religion now. It kind of took away that ability because it says, oh, here, these are a genetically identifiable people. So I think the information is now widespread enough that Jewish people are a people. They are, if you don't want to call them a race, they are a genetically identifiable people. Of course, ask the walrus at YouTube if that's true or not. It may or may not be true. Just because that all of these DNA companies that will do this for you, they will tell you that, okay, here is the Ashkenazi race. And I don't know, they may even have Sephardic as well. They may break it down like this. But they can tell you this is specific set of genes that make up these people. So you can't say it anymore. It's not a secret anymore that Jewish people are people. God bless them. They're people. And so you might as well make it illegal to criticize them. That is why this is happening now. There's no more hiding that they are a people. So you might as well make it illegal to criticize them. So what I see is the case with all of anti-whiteism. We're going to see a dilation of this, the application of this law. It's going to go from, specifically the verbiage is going to say something like, well, criticizing Israel, XYZ, or whatever it is. And it's just going to be dilated to, did you ever call the guy that you didn't even know was Jewish a bad word? Did you ever call him a jackass or something like that? And is he then going to be able to say that you knew he was Jewish and therefore, and you criticized the way he applied the rules? Or is this going to be a coworker that you're going to be critical of? And then she's going to say, well, he's just doing it because I'm Jewish. And then you're going to have these rules and these laws brought against you. Do you think it's going to end with an executive order? Every company across this country, around the world now, on the back of the legitimacy of the president of the United States, pinning an order like this, is going to write now into their bylaws and into the rules and policies for their companies that criticism of this particular group is particularly heinous and off limits from here on into eternity. So wait for that to be seen. I guarantee you, we're going to see now universities, private schools, businesses from Midwest Nowhereville we're going to suddenly hear about, look at this new policy that they are handing out to their employees, criticize anything Jewish and immediately terminated from the job. Guarantee it. So that's a prediction. So we don't have to actually ask the walruses whether or not it's true. Okay, we're going to talk about Sydney here. And I'm going to take a look at I'm going to do this for a moment because I got to shut down this fan. And we're going to take a look at your comments. I imagine folks have some comments about this order. And then we're going to talk about Sydney. And I imagine that this discussion about Sydney is potentially going to insult some people. And that's good. Has anybody, by the way, tried to, if somebody could, super chat $1 on the familiar alternative just to see if the darn thing is still working, if it will even come up. So it looks like we're coming back live on all of these other platforms. Good to see that we're back up and running. Coconut is here. Hey, hello to you. Great to see you. Alex Simpson. Who is this Sydney girl anyway? Well, I guess we're going to find out here in a minute. And actually, nobody donate on the familiar alternative $1. We have already had the great Roy Danton has super chatted over there. And okay, good. I still have the entropy is up. Seaver, if I could ask you, is entropy working for you if you go over to entropy? I appreciate it. And I'm going to get to entropy in just one moment. The great Roy Danton super chatted $50 over on the familiar alternative. And writing here with that $50. Thank you so much, my dear sir. It is a great pleasure to know you and be able to. Roy Danton, ladies and gentlemen, is somebody who has and is absolutely turning his life around. Thank you, Roy. Writing, since I'm spending Yule alone this year, I didn't bother getting any decorations. But then all of your kind words and seeing all of those decorations inspired me to at least get some virtual decorations. I hope you like my new Yule-themed Twitter logo. I'll have to check it out, brother. Fantastic. Thank you very much. That is splendid. And let's do this. Roy, let's talk on the phone on Christmas. I'm absolutely going to set time aside, and you and I are going to have a chat, brother. I look forward to that conversation. And let's see what else we have here going on. We're still bringing some things up online after that animal outside decided to take out our internet connection with that god-awful scream, whatever that was about. Billahora back again over on Ko-fi, $3 this time. Thank you so much, my dear friend. Jason, one of the most egregious of the vague timed usage or timid usage of language, even by white positive people, is when they use save our culture, but really mean and should say save our people. Brilliant, good sir. Brilliantly stated. This, folks, is the kind of thing when you are going free and you begin making these changes in your life. You're treating the MPs that you are infected with. These kind of things that came to Billa here is the kind of things that will come to you. This is why this is so valuable to us. In the past, you would have to have like a Greg Johnson sitting on your shoulder or Jared Taylor sitting on your shoulder, whispering in your ear what to say. You don't need that anymore. You go free. You treat the mean pathogens that you are suffering with. You learn some of the MCs that I share in here abundantly. You share some of these you learn some of these MCs, and then these sorts of thoughts will come to you on your own. You'll win your conversations with original things based in the work that we are doing here. And then you'll be able to bring this back to our community, and we all will be empowered by it. Do you see how this works? Do you see why this is so much better? This is exactly right. The culture is just the projection. That's all it is. If you don't have the biospirit, there is no culture. Save our culture, no, save our people. There is no culture. There is no Western culture without Western kind. So thank you very much for that, Billa. We also have Slots. Thank you so much. Another great participant here all the time. Over here on Cash App, super chatting $20 and saying everything that he needs to say with those $20. Thank you, my dear friend. Let me jump up here. And if you had written anything before the crazy wild animal, thank you, Seaver, for getting back to me on entropy. Before the wild animal took out our, or whatever it did, the coincidence between the scream and the internet going. Brand Danger says, Budapest Babe is here. Well, a big hello to you, Budapest Babe. We talked about your channel. If you had written something before it went down and I didn't get to it, please write it again, tag me and write it again. And I will hopefully, I can also check, but hopefully Entropy captured everybody's super chat. Andre Boston is here. Great to see you. It captured everybody's super chat that came over YouTube. So who's ready to talk about Sydney? Okay, and Roy just said he did. That was from when I asked whether anybody could super chat over there. Thank you for that, Roy. Roy's asking about the executive order from Trump over here on the Gardening Channel. He's saying, how does it really change anything? Because they could already claim religious protection before. Well, what it does is it frees up tools in the federal government that were not available to those Jewish people who are not claiming to be criticized on the basis of the religion. So now they can say, I'm being criticized, I'm being persecuted because I'm Jewish, because I am a supporter of Israel, because I'm an Israeli, so it goes much further than just religion now. Now it's a people that you can't criticize. And that is, of course, may or may not be true. And I'm going to say for the the AI that's listening right now, ladies and gentlemen, everything I just said about Donald Trump's executive order regarding Jewish people is false. So go and check it out for yourself. We know the AI is listening, and that Walrus is heavily setting overtop the delete button for this channel. Sorby says, Google Sydney Watson if you can. Something strange going on. Really? Well, maybe I'll do that. Something strange is going on. Just her name. I see. What are you seeing? I see a Wikipedia page. I see that she's got a Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube. What am I looking for? Let's get over to we'll start talking about Sydney, and then we'll wrap this up. Get over to entropy and see what's going on entropy. I don't see any questions on the question widget over here. Remember, folks, that you can write questions in the question widget, or you should be able to. Can anybody write a test question in the question widget to make sure that that's working? They're making some great changes over there. They're wonderful people. God bless them, and we hope that they continue to thrive and look forward to increasingly wonderful things coming from them. The Outlaw super chatting $5 over here on Entropy. Have a great Christmas and New Year's, my brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for that kind words, and that kind super chat of $5 over here on Entropy. Roy Danton over here as well, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get a round of applause for Roy because he's super chatting on Entropy, as well as he had super chatted on the Familiar Alternative. $50 more. That makes $100 from Roy Danton. Big round of applause for Roy. Thank you so much. Since I'm spending Yule alone. Oh, no, that's actually the same verbiage. It says here, since I'm spending Yule alone this year, I didn't bother doing any decorations, but then all of your kind words inspired me to some virtual decorations and a photoshopped, so a little different. Yes, a little different verbiage. Photoshopped my Twitter logo a bit. Well, I'll have to check that out. Big thank you to Roy for both of those super chats. And we are definitely going to talk on Christmas. Good brother, you won't be alone. Marcus over here, super chatting $25 on Entropy. Thank you, my good friend, for that kind super chat. And writing, on my vacation, I was able to help an old friend go free. That just there just stops everything, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. On my vacation, I was able to help an old friend go free. He has been thinking in terms of conservative versus liberal, but now sees that the real issue is white positive versus anti-white. Amen to that. Amen, Marcus. Well done. Thank you so much for your service to White Wellbeing and helping your friend to see the world as it really is. I guarantee you, he or she, is it a he? Yes, a he will come back to you with revelations, with epiphanies, with things, and a smile will spread across your face. It is that warm harmonization between yourself and someone who has the same biospirit that you are helping to go free of that poison, free of what's holding them back and holding them down. God bless you. Thank you for that service to White Wellbeing. We have, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please get all of your applauding emojis together, all of your wild emojis together, all the emojis and applauding that you have ever gotten together. Final Blossom, my dear friend, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Started off with a test super chat of $3 and writing in the verbiage test, and just super chatted, ladies and gentlemen, $1,000 to the cause of White Wellbeing. God bless you. Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Oh no, my $1,000 bill just got picked up by the wind. Oh well, I hope someone finds it and puts it to good use. Also, I apologize for only giving triple-digit contributions in the past. My God. Thank you so much, Final Block. That is absolutely amazing. My heart goes out to you. The whole community's heart goes out to you. That sort of service, as we've talked about before, so many here, all the way back to all the donations that people give. These sums are huge sums, no matter what they are, because we're working class people. When you give an amount of money, though, that really stops us in our progress, in our steps, that causes us to double take. It's far more than just the sum. All of you know this. It is a testimony to a firm belief in the efficacy of a doctrine, in the efficacy of what we are doing here in service to white well-being and going free. So God bless you for that, Final Blossom. Thank you so much. If you're alone on Christmas, we could talk on the phone as well. Please, that's magnificent. I'm speechless. Thank you, my dear friend. Oh no, my $1,000 bill just got picked up by the wind. Oh well, I hope someone finds it and puts it to good use. I apologize for only giving triple-digit contributions in the past. Witty on top of that. And ladies and gentlemen, Final Blossom also, because of this issue I've been having with my throat and my, I don't know, vocal cords, maybe a bit like my good friend here, maybe drinking from his cup, I caught something. But with my throat, the issues, Final Blossom sent me some remedies, some medicine, and so just a real hero in the community. I deeply appreciate you, and I hope nothing but the best for you. And I hope that we can, for all of us here, we can make a much better world for Western kind in the days, months, and years to come. I know 2020 is going to be an amazing year. So God bless you. Now let's talk about Sydney Watson and what is going on there, why she is in my thoughts today, and why we're going to wrap up today's show with talk about Sydney. And I hope that we can all go forward and help other young women in our lives, those that we come in contact with, because it is critically important that we move our women away from this mindset to a far healthier mindset for our people. Because it doesn't matter everything else we do if by some leftover poison our young women continue to behave this way. There's no hope for us. So we need to bring our women around. Sorry, I'm looking at the screens that are still having some issues coming back up on these different monitors, ladies and gentlemen. So my apologies. We need to get to these women and change their mindset. So Laura, our very own, who is modding here today, reached out to me. Lovely woman, as you all know, magnificent lady. And by the way, a magnificent cookies that this woman makes. I mean, just absolutely delectable. And how would Jason even eat cookies? It's got to be special ingredients because I don't eat most of the things that cookies are made out of. So for her to be able to make delectable cookies is something truly amazing. So she is a wonderful woman. She reached out to me the other day and told me about a tweet that this Sydney Watson woman had made. And let me show you all that tweet, and I'll read it to you. It is, and the reason I want to talk about it is, and this is not about, primarily about Sydney Watson as a person. I don't know her. I've never spoken with her. She is a content producer on YouTube and Twitter, and I think we saw just now Instagram and maybe some other places, but I think it's primarily, from what I understand, she's a YouTube and Twitter content producer. She's a nationalist content producer, from what I understand. I've had now, since I tweeted in response to her tweet, I had a slew of people write to me with information about her, and I am open to, and these are people that otherwise are reputable folks that I've had write to me. I wouldn't repeat anything that anybody said that I didn't feel were reputable folks. But if any of this is wrong, then I am open to being corrected. From what I can understand from the distance that I have observed Sydney, she seems like a nice enough young woman. She produces nationalist content. I'm told that she is an abstractionist, doesn't give really a damn about our people, Western kind, just an abstractionist in the vein of being a nationalist, which is like being for the forest but not for the trees. You don't have Western civilization if you don't have white people. So you don't have a forest if you don't have trees. So it's a really dumb position. A nationalist position is a dumb position, and it's for dumb people. It's sorting out the intelligent, brave people, those who will pass through the needle's eye, from those who are dumb. Perhaps she is a nationalist as a strategy, where she actually cares about our people, but she has, she's surrounded by all of these beta cucks paying her with their beta bucks, and it's providing her with a living, or providing her with the ability to travel, or whatever else is going on. I don't know. I'm not implying that she's doing anything untoward, but and I'm open to being corrected. Seems like, as I say, seems like a nice enough person. I'm also told that she jokes a lot, and that she's kind of like a prankster in her videos. So I was kind of second guessing whether or not this tweet was a joke tweet, but I don't think it is. And certainly the 35,000 plus likes on this tweet are not joke likes. These are women who agree with her statement. Now we have men, white men, who do nothing but idealize, and to the point of sickening, cloying worship of white women, as though they are somehow not human beings. We know in Service to White Wellbeing that there are good women and there are bad women. Women that are no more blessed, or no more gracious, or no more noble than men, and women that are no less evil or immoral or corrupt than are the potential of men as well. So there is this big, and there has always been this huge push to this worshiping of our women, this setting our women up on this pedestal as though they can't do any wrong. And then what do we see in return? How often do we see our white women talking about how glorious our white men are? Too infrequently. No, instead, it's nothing but complaints. That's what we get in return. So it's so rare that I see our women saying positive things about our men that I always do a double take. And I always think this must be actually either a special woman, or it's blandishment, or she's trying to control by manipulation. So she doesn't really mean it. So I always do a double take when I see one of our women really celebrating white men, because it is that rare. No, instead, what's normal is the mocking us, the saying that we're pathetic, the saying that, as she says here, soy boys and all of this other kind of garbage. And it's serving something else that's going on potentially in her life. I don't know for sure, but certainly in the lives of a lot of our women. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you have friends right now that in your circles of influence that might be interested in this discussion, let them know right now, because we're going to talk about it and then we're going to wrap. I see right now Zandrophin says, applause to our men. I believe it from her. Mandy says, I am so grateful for all of you. Gandalf is saying, great point to me. Insane Hermit saying, yes, great point. Hansa, a nation means people, so a true nationalist, well, yes, that's true. A nation is a people, but you know, you're splitting hairs there. These people are thinking about a country when they say nation. Laura's pointing out that I have a super chat on entropy. I will check that out. Jay Easom says something about the boys that she claims don't exist who love guns and freedom. Those country boys, right? They do indeed love guns and freedom. All right, this is such a topic to discuss here, because there are so many different angles to it. Let's see what this is on entropy. Oh, interesting. Maybe I have to entropy. Here we go. It's saying that there is an error. So I don't see, at least at the moment, the super chat that, Laura, that you are referring to. Could the person who super chatted on entropy tag me and you and put the amount and their statement in the live chat, or could they put it in the questions widget on entropy? That would be better if that's working, because I don't see the super chat here on entropy. It probably is because of the stoppage of the stream for entropy. And then, okay, Seaver Hamlin's test question just came through on entropy. Thank you, Seaver. Let's go ahead and do this, and I will get on to her tweet. Let's have a look at it, and I will read it. I might have to separate it. Oh, wait, here we go. So we'll see if that works. Is that visible for everyone? Okay. Sydney tweeted here, dating as a, and now mind you, Sydney Watson, if you can't tell from the tiny avatar on the screen, is a lovely woman. She's an attractive young woman, probably in her late 20s, maybe early 30s, very early 30s at latest, I'm guessing. But she writes here, dating as a millennial is miserable. I feel like I'm wading through a sea of soy boys and male feminists when all I want is a man that likes guns, dogs, country music, and freedom. 35,000 plus likes. Ladies and gentlemen, these 35,000, because first of all, and this is where I'm going to get a little irritated, because this is how our race is being, in a big way, Western kind is being undermined. The survival of our people is being undermined. Because this Sydney, whether this is, I don't know if she's joking, so maybe she's joking, so maybe it's we talk about a different Sydney then, who is equally as attractive and roughly the same age. This woman, like the other women just like her, have gone from the later teens, like 17, 18, all the way up to maybe late 20s now, has had hundreds, if not thousands of men, good men, loyal men, honorable men, hardworking men, try to get her attention, try to get her to look at them, try to get her to talk to them. I know that as a fact because I can tell that she's an attractive woman. But the problem has been that she and so many of our women are fixated on the top 10 to 20% of the prettiest faces of men in our community. And what ends up happening is these women waste their good years as concubines, as sluts of this 10 to 20% of men. I have seen it. You all have seen it. The only people who are going to deny that that is the fact are the people who are benefiting from it or who did benefit from it. These people are wasting their best years when they should be out there finding a man who is commensurate with them in looks, who is equal to them in looks. They should be interviewing those men, or maybe one step down, or maybe two steps down from their looks. No obligation to date men that are much less unattractive than them. If they want only men that are equal to them in looks, interviewing them without having sex with them is best scenario. Finding the man that's going to be the best provider, the best father, the best husband, the loyal, who's going to rear fantastic children, who's going to provide for a good life, a loving family for Western kind and Western civilization. Instead, what these women do is they go out into the world and, like Miss Watson here, they say, just can't find them. There's just no men out there. Bullshit. Everywhere she goes, she is surrounded by good men who are trying to catch her eye. Everywhere she goes. But they're just simply not the prettiest men. So I tweeted back to her the rest of what she really meant to say. Let me see where I have at here. Okay. I retweeted to her tweet, perfect example of a matchmaking problem for our people. She is surrounded by good men who are checking her out everywhere she goes. But she is looking for, quote, a man that likes guns, dogs, country music, and freedom. And, this is what I add, the reality of it, has a really pretty face and possibly dark featured. What ends up happening, ladies and gentlemen, is that young women like Sydney end up as concubines to these really pretty guys. And the really pretty guys will have them for a week or a month or a couple of months, and then they dump them. And while they're having them, using up the best years of their lives, the best moments. Now, mind you, let me also say this. When I'm talking about it, a woman's life in this respect, I'm talking about the best years of her beauty, not the best years of her intellectual development. She has a lifetime of wisdom to gain, a lifetime of education she can gain. She will become infinitely more valuable as a educated, wise woman the longer she lives, and the more she educates herself, the more she learns in life. Phyllis Schlafly is a magnificent example. We're going to build a statue to Phyllis that scrapes the sky. So this has nothing to do with women performing intellectual feats or artistic feats or anything else that women are capable of doing. Not in any way. In fact, it's bolstering those women who, in the years of their lives, when they have their highest sexual market value, meaning that they are projecting the signals of fertility, and particularly when they're attractive like Sydney, projecting the signals that are arresting to all of us, men and women, because we see and we say, wow, we want that to continue in our race. We want that to continue in the body of our people. We want more of our people to look that good. We want more of our people to be that healthy. We think that those of us who are good, we think that because we want to bequeath to our future generations better than we had. Healthier, stronger, faster, smarter, all of it. Better looking. We see that in them and we want that to continue. And good people like great people, heroes like Phyllis, like so many other women, like so many women who are serving white well-being. They use those years of fertility, of their highest sexual market value, to go out into the world, to interview the men who are on their level of looks, and to find the best man. He might not be. He odds that he'll be the prettiest face out there in the top 10 to 20%, zero. Because those guys are getting ass everywhere they go. Tell your daughters, tell your nieces, tell your granddaughters. These guys want to spread their genes. It is genetically in them. They want to spread their genes, but they don't necessarily want to father. They don't necessarily want to stay around. And we have a system now that'll force guys like me, guys like all those listening to this chat, to pay for their goddamn babies that are going to be raised by single mothers. And what happens in the household of single mothers? Look at the crime rates. Look at what happens to these children. So you don't get there is no bettering of the stock. You don't produce a smarter, better, superior people out of what we have today by breeding the prettiest that will leave and won't father their offspring. That's not how you improve the people. So the odds that you're going to find a guy that is in this top 10 to 20% of prettiest faces is zero. He will have you for a while. And while he's having you, I was friends with two of these guys and ended my friendship with them because I saw how immoral they were. I saw what they were doing. While they're having you over and over, they're having others at the same time. And then 5 months or whatever it is, they'll dump your ass. And then you're going to become misandristic. You're going to hate men because you're going to say they're all dogs. All they do is cheat. All they do is lie. And then what's going to happen? You're going to go on that carousel month after month, year after year, using up the best years of your life, while all of those other guys out there that aren't the prettiest, that don't have the exact right features, maybe they don't shoot as many guns as you like, Sydney, or maybe they're whatever else you're asking for that you demand that they have. I know you calling them male feminists, or maybe they don't love dogs. Maybe they don't like country music. You're ignoring them and you're looking for the prettiest guys. And what ends up happening is you're going to ride that carousel for your best years. These guys are going to be watching you ride that carousel year after year. And they're going to be building up anger and resentment for it. And then once you've given all of your best physical years to all of these men who are going to do you and dump you, you're finally going to meet that wall, and these looks are going to tank. And then you're going to look for the guys that are closer to your level of looks. And then the analogs for the prettiest face will start to play a role. Things like, how much money does he make? How popular is he? How much power does he have? Then those things will start to play a role. And ladies and gentlemen, it's commensurate based on how rapid those looks are disappearing for the young woman. Usually, sometimes it starts in the late 20s, but it's always with very rare exception, in the early 30s. And the faster those looks are dropping, they might still look great, just generally speaking. But men, all of the desire from the men around them is evaporating with their age. And it's directly proportional. The dropping of those looks, suddenly all of these men that they have ignored for all of these years, that they felt like they were above, that they felt like they didn't have to deign to be with, now they're suddenly looking at those guys. We see it everywhere around us. To deny it is to lie because you're benefiting from it. These women, these 35,000 plus, what they're saying is their gender They're more loyal to their gender than they are to our people. Any woman who would argue for that state of affairs is saying she is more loyal to her gender than she is to our people. And that is despicable. And then what happens in these unions? Are we going to get good families out of those unions? No. In rare cases, exceptions to the rule, of course. But far and large, the woman is going to feel, after having had the carousel of pretty men, she now has to deign, she feels, to take the guy that was actually on her level 10 years, 15 years, 17 years after she should have had him, after she could have given him her best years. And she's going to resent having to be with a guy that is her equal in looks. And she's going to think that he's below her because she's had all of the pretty guys. And she's going to think that he's a dog because all of those pretty guys lied to her, cheated on her, treated her and her girlfriends like garbage. No shit. And how is he going to think? How is he going to feel? Well, I'll tell you what. Go back in time to when he's watching, when he doesn't have a chance in hell. No, doesn't matter. 20-year-old guy, 25-year, doesn't matter how hard he's working, how hard he's educating himself. This is the general rule I'm talking about here, not exceptions. If he doesn't have that pretty face, you have been ignoring him. He may have those guns. He may blast that country music. He may be as far from soy as goy. But you didn't see him. You walked by him in the airport. You walked by him at the grocery store. You walked by him at university. Time and time and time and time again. Because he didn't have that pretty face. So what did he do? He decided to give up. He decided to crawl into that basement. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we all know the reality. Women decide who gets to date. Women decide who they're going to throw themselves on their back for. When men decide, they go to jail for rape. So, since he's not getting chosen, since you've walked by him in all of these locales over and over again, saying to your girlfriends, tweeting out to the 35,000 other whores, and not specifically that Sydney, I don't know, she's probably a delightful person. But I'm speaking about the average person right now, tweeting out to all of these whores that say, right on, sister, that there just aren't any men out there. I just went through the mall and got looked at by 35 guys. And that's no exaggeration. I've seen good-looking women walk through airports and every head turn. Every guy trying to get her attention. And she's not seeing any of them, no matter how good they are. Don't give me this bullshit about they're looking for resources. Nobody's looking for resources in Western civilization, where there's a grocery store in every corner, a cell phone in every hand, and a Louis Vuitton bag under every arm. Give me a break. What's going to happen to him? He gives up. He decides that he's going to go to the basement and start playing video games. And he gets fat, and he watches porn, and he resents you, and he gets pissed. He knows that you're giving your best years on your back to pretty guy after pretty guy as a concubine. And now suddenly, as your looks begin to tank, now you're suddenly going to notice him. Now you're suddenly going to give him that wrinkled smile with those incipient crow's feet showing up. Yeah. With that, no longer do you have that spread between your inner thighs. No. Now they're catching fire, baby. Now you got that chub rub going on. And now he gets to marry this. What a lucky guy. Lucky guy with all of this emotional and physical damage done to the bodies of these women. then these really lucky guys get to marry them, feeling that they're being deigned to marry, resenting the hell out of the woman for having given her best life. And now what does she want to do? Well, she wants to maybe spit out a child really quick. And you just go to work. You're not going to get to have any of the fun that she had with all of those pretty guys. No, just get your ass to work. This is why there is MGTOW. This is why there are far more white men out there who are flocking to MGTOW than the white positive sphere, because of these decisions being made by our women. If we are going to save our race, if we are going to save Western kind, if we are going to save Western civilization, we have to get the people who make the decision, which is the women, to choose the men who are their equals. Stop holding out. Your naughty bits are not special. They're the same as every other woman's naughty bits. I know you think that somewhere deep down, because you're the one with the eggs. And it's true that biologically, the eggs are far less numerous and are therefore far more important than the sperm. But your eggs are no more valuable than any other woman's. And those pretty guys, they'll have you for a while. And then they'll spit you out as damaged goods. And that is what you will be giving the guy you should have married 10 years earlier. What kind of children are going to come out of that union? Not good. So if there's anybody here, anybody here that wants to comment on this, I'll comment on it. We'll wrap it up now. I'm going to say again, I don't know Sydney Watson. I hope this tweet was a joke. And I hope that she will speak to this massive base of hers and tell them, all of those ladies, the right thing to do for our nation, for our country, is to find a man, to interview men as soon as you are an adult woman. Now, not every woman is going to get married. Not every woman is fit for marriage. Not every woman is fit for being a mother. That doesn't mean they don't play a role. That doesn't mean that they're not important. Some women are going to produce magnificent works of art. Some women are going to be brilliant and will be able to contribute intellectually to the work that we do here in the white positive sphere and for the salvation of our people. Some women are going to write books that are going to speak to our young girls. They're never going to be able to get married. It's just not in them. Some women are biologically, there's going to be something wrong. They can't have children. That is fine. They are just as valuable as the others. We want them to be here with us. We cherish them. I made a video about the value of those women. We absolutely don't do this virtue trapping. We don't allow virtue trapping, that because we want women and men coming together and having children, that if they don't come together and have children, that there's something wrong with them and they need to do it right away. We don't virtue trap. But those are exceptions. Some of you can be really exceptional, like Phyllis Schlafly. You can go and begin an education and then say, forget about this. I found the man of my dreams on my level in looks. And I'm going to have a family with him. I'm going to rear beautiful children. And then I'm going to go back to school and become a lawyer. And then I'm going to shake the pillars of the nation for the good of our people. Some of you can be that exceptional. Not many, but some of you will be able to be that exceptional. But what we need, by far and large, is for those who get to make the decision, the young women, to when they become an adult, to look out into their circles, find the men who are on their level in looks and begin interviewing them. Don't have sex with them in best case scenario, because that is going to muddy your ability to see clearly. You're just going to be thinking about the next orgasm instead of thinking rationally about, is this person and I, are we going to really fit together? Are we going to get along? Because if you just go straight to having sex and that's what you're focused on and you can't get along, that marriage is going to fall apart. The children are going to be wrecked. They're not going to be strong, healthy, proud, and we're not going to have any more child abuse. We don't do that in the white positive sphere. Focus on the things that are you're going to have to be friends. You're going to have to be able to be productive. You're going to have to be able to resolve differences. And then marry him, even if he doesn't have the prettiest face, even if he doesn't like country music, and rear a beautiful family. Do that now. Because we are all watching. It's no longer the way it used to be, where we all used to just have to play by the rules of these girls. Those days are past. We can now call you a whore and make it widely known. We can now shame you, and we should shame you. If you are doing something that is harmful for yourself, that is harmful for our people, you should be shamed. Male or female. In this case, we're talking about women, because God knows that men get enough criticism. Every guy out there is afraid as hell to criticize women. Guys have written me, whatever you do, don't say anything about Sydney. Whatever you do. I saw your tweet. Whatever you do, don't criticize her, because you know all the women are going to go crazy. They're going to say awful things about you. So what? No woman is going to scare me. I don't bend a knee for any woman. The only thing I bend a knee for is the spirit that resides within us. No woman throwing a tantrum, saying something ugly about me. Big deal. You want to mock me for telling the truth about you? Go right ahead, loser, because your life is circling the drain in the toilet. And if we don't pull enough of you out of that drain in time, you're going to take me and everybody else down with you. I saw not a few, I'll just say this, ladies, because I know that the majority of you and the older women who know this need to speak up as well right now in the live chat and on the thread after this video. These pretty guys that you're after, they have hundreds of sex partners. Hundreds. You might get, I don't know, 50 screws out of them before they get rid of you. Nothing changes on their body when they have hundreds of, unless they get an STD, which of course, how could they not, with as prevalent as STDs are today? But unless they get an STD, nothing's going to change on their bodies, but yours will be ruined. You'll be giving the man you marry something very different than God gave you, my dear. So I'll just say about Sydney, I hope that this isn't true for her. I hope that this was a joke. I hope that it was just another one of her pranks that she pulls. I hope that she'll speak reason, logic, and evidence to her female base. She seems like a lovely young woman. She probably is. But this tweet spoke directly to an actual illness in our civilization, and it has to be addressed. So if anything, I'm calling on Sydney. She obviously has a much larger subscriber base, far more eyeballs and ears than I'm able to reach. So I'm calling on Sydney to do the right thing and to say, to not wait until she hits that wall, to not prove to everyone once again, to not reveal that she's actually one of these women, to not be one of these women, to not wait until she's getting heavy and she's getting the wrinkles and she's starting to look older. And then suddenly she finds the guy, 5 years from now, she finds the guy who will be the one. Do the right thing, Sydney. Tell your fan base that the right thing to do is to find a good man that is on the girl's level of looks, and to make a loving family and get on with the salvation and recapturing of our destiny, Western kind, our salvation as a people. So I didn't see anything else here on the Googling of her. I mean, she's lovely. She's obviously a pretty lady from the pictures. As I say, I don't know how old these pictures are. Maybe these pictures are old. But if anybody has any other information they want to supply, it definitely appears that whatever there was, okay, so the Seaver must have deleted his test question because it's gone. Let's see what anybody had to say, and then we'll shut this down. I'm willing to debate anybody on this, and if somebody wants to try to contradict or have a different opinion, let's hear it. Angharad Celtic says young men are unduly influenced by porn and go right for the good-looking, gold-digging skanks. Here's what I'll tell you about young men. There's nothing on planet Earth that young men want more than sex. And they will look at absolutely the prettiest woman who walks through the room. They'll absolutely all look at her. And they will absolutely date any woman on their level in that room of looks. They will date down with any woman. This is how men are. If young women will give them the opportunity to compete for their hands, they will get out of the basement. They will get off of the pornography. They will get off of the video games. They will start working out. They will start eating right. They will get into the gym. They will work harder at work. Why? Because of the potential for a mate. And it's not just the sex, but it's the companionship. So that is what they want. If you allow them to play the game, if you allow them to be in the race by interviewing them, they will compete. I guarantee it. We wouldn't even have to tell young men. This is a little secret, ladies. We wouldn't even have to tell any young man out there to work out or work harder at work or try to climb the ladder or try to make a living or try to learn different trades we wouldn't have to tell them to do any of those things, but we could manipulate them into doing those things simply by having you give them the stare that you give the pretty boys and then interview them for relationships. If you do that, they're going to realize they're in the running and they're going to do everything they can to beat out the other guys who are also in the running. This I guarantee you. You ladies out there, you are in charge of this mating game. You are in charge of who gets to reproduce. We all know it's a little internet search. We all know that far more women pass on their genes than do men. It's all in your hands, ladies. If you do not begin giving young men an opportunity for your hand when you are in your prime, they're going to stay in the basement on the porn and the video games. Why would they bother doing anything else? Unless some plastic surgeon practice comes into being where they can give face transplants, then these guys are going to just stay down there gaming. Hansa said he was considered good-looking by girls, but never had hundreds of women. Well, there are plenty of guys out there considered good-looking. You've got to be in that top 10 to 20%, and just being good-looking is not enough. The two guys I knew were pretty, and that I spent time with, and they went through women like you can't even imagine. Good looking is not enough. Insane Hermit says, preach, bro. Women can be goddesses or demons. Yes, indeed. we have some of the goddesses here with us in service to white well-being. Mandy says that she makes beautiful babies. I'm delighted to hear it. And if they're young ladies, then please teach them to use their best sexual market value years to find the best man that they can, which will not be the prettiest man that they can find. Gandalf says, if I were Caesar, I'd use the NSA to cancel all of the dating apps. Yeah, if you're a young man, get off the dating apps immediately. Unless you're pretty. You have no chance in all hell. Yeah, well, Angharad says, yeah, I see a lot of young males who just want to play video games, not interested in actual relationship. They just want beer, pizza, and I won't say that, but yeah, you're seeing exactly what I'm talking about. Now, if the women prior to you, Angharad Celtic, if the women prior to you had been interviewing the men on their level, then when you came along, you wouldn't be seeing young men interested in just playing the video games, not interested in a relationship. They just want the beer and the hanging out. You wouldn't be seeing that. So you're seeing exactly what I'm saying is happening. I agree completely. Croatian man says, men and women both are way too far removed from human nature. The main reason I think we have such a problem these days is people have forgotten the reason we get together is babies. Well, we come together, we should be coming together in a harmony of spirit. Men and women are not meant to only fit together physically. They're meant to fit together intellectually, fit together spiritually, fit together emotionally, and it completes a puzzle, if you will. And the completion of that puzzle is the magic that brings forth the next generation of life. Precisely. That is what should be happening. That is what we have to return to by telling young women that they have a choice. They have all the power and they have the choice. And it, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to say to one young woman, go out into the world, interview the guys on your level of looks, and everything is just going to be easy as can be. Angharad Celtic is right about the male pool now. They know that if they're not pretty, and we all witness this, don't bother lying to me because I'll just call you a liar. From the moment we are in elementary school, if you all have memory sharp enough to remember, from the moment we were in elementary school, we all remember that all of the little girls gave 2, 3, 4 of the little boys all of their attention. They were all fixated on them all the time. And those little boys had the prettiest faces. By the time we reached junior high school and high school, they were screwing them. By the time we reached university, they were throwing themselves on their backs every opportunity they got for those same guys. Yes, there are other relationships that take place here and there. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule. We all know, though, the rule exists. So these young women now, if you're a young woman, the pool that you have to look at of young men, that the pool that you have to sort through is of young men is a sickened pool, and it's been made sick by your fellow women, by the women who came before you, by the women who are out there of your same age right now. So it's going to be harder for you to find a quality mate. That means you're going to have to interview more men than you would have had to otherwise. Otherwise, it would have been a much easier, shorter interview process. Instead, you're going to find out when you go out there to interview that this guy only wants this sex act, And so pass on him. Oh, this guy wants to just play video games all day long. Pass on him. This guy only wants to hang out, drink beer all day long. Pass on him. He's not going to be a good partner, a good husband. But guess what? What's your alternative? Are you sift through the guys who are on your level of looks and have to deal with a lot of losers because of the environment that women have created, period. Sift through that until you find a good man, or be a whore, be a concubine for the prettiest guys that will have you. If you're close enough in looks to them, they'll have you. Trust me. So those are your options. You can sift through that lousy pool that women have created, or you can be a whore with the pretty guys until your sexual market value has gone down the toilet, and then you finally end up marrying one of those guys who now is also going to resent you for having given your best physical years to all of these other men. So that's your option. It's miserable all the way around because of the fulcrum. So if we're going to change this, we got to change the fulcrum, the decision makers. Rest assured, when humans lived in smaller communities, and this is why we have one of the main reasons why we have marriage, ladies and gentlemen, when we lived in much smaller communities, there was going to be the guy or the guys in that community that had really pretty faces, and all of the women wanted. And the rest of the men in that community made sure that those pretty guys got married like this. And it would be to the prettiest girl. More power to them. But those men in that community were not going to sit around while those prettiest guys bedded down all the women in the town. Because those guys wanted to have wives as well that weren't just turned out whores of 10 years of being concubines. So they made sure those pretty guys got married fast, or, sometimes terrible things happen to those pretty guys' faces. But in modern civilization, that can't be done. There's no recourse for the sweeping masses of men, of the rest of the men, but video gaming, and now MGTOW, and now hatred, and now they went from, like a letter opener to a small hammer to a ball peen hammer. And now this MGTOW movement is a sledgehammer that is going to be used to destroy Western civilization. These millions of young men are not going to sit in those basements forever. They're not going to sit around and wait forever and watch as these women give their lives away to the prettiest guys in town. We have to stop that from happening. David says, tell us stories of their escapades. I love a good black pill story. Of the pretty guys, it's endless. It is endless how they go through women. Women just they're lying, or if they don't admit this, or they must be really below average intelligence. These guys go out into the world, and every woman, almost every available and some not available women, are looking at them, giving them the please come talk to me face. I will flop down right here for you. I watched it happening. So they get numbers everywhere they go. It's like celebrity status. It is unbelievable. Chancellor 4 asks, did you see my question? I will look back and see if I can find it. Gandalf says we got to stop people like Trump from talking about GDP and Dow. Start talking about fertility rate. I agree. No, Angharad Celtic, you got it wrong. You got it backwards. She writes here, don't decry the skanks until you start scolding and chiding young men. No, absolutely not. The men are behaving the way they're behaving because of the women. There is nothing these young men can do to get these young women to notice them aside from a face transplant. They are miserable wretches because they don't stand a chance to find love and partnership and sex with a woman on their level. I agree with you. They're wretched. And men, especially our white men, wouldn't you agree, Angharad Celtic, that our white men are criticized dawn till dusk and all through the night? They don't need me to tell them how wretched they have become. They get nothing but criticism. Who doesn't get criticized? These white girls, these white women who are the reason why they're in the basement, drinking beers, getting fat, eating Doritos. Mrs. Horst says that says you are right. JC Stalling says right on, brother. Spencer's thoughts, super chatting $6, not $6 Canadian dollars 99 cents. Just watched Minotaur's video, put down my beer and threw my pack afterwards. Any other similar videos you recommend? We got quite a few, brother. Look in the White Wellbeing community playlist. Seaver says he did delete it, so I accurately predicted that. Nancy Drew writes very kind words. Jason's an attractive, articulate man, good values, deserves him to make a good partner for a nice girl. Thank you. That's kind of you. Jesse says, I agree with Jason on this attitude being prevalent in our society and being an illness. I tell you what, for any of the young men out there who are in this this MGTOW, in going into these spheres, you are not going to find happiness there. Come to White Wellbeing. Start bettering yourself. Get out of the basement. We are not going to have the girls who are on your level are not going to notice you. I'm going to be honest with you. They're not going to pay attention to you. It doesn't matter how many weights you lift, how much you earn. None of that matters. So just push that. It's not going to matter whether you are in MGTOW or whether you're serving White Wellbeing. But here's the difference. In MGTOW, you are in a death cult. In MGTOW, you are on a crash collision, on a collision course for the end of your life and the end of our civilization. There is nothing more evil than that. Come now to White Wellbeing. Come now to Going Free. Give up this. If people out there want to watch some adult material or something in their private time, I'm not interfering with. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to interfere. I don't care what you're doing in your private time. But if you're addicted to pornography, you got to give that up. Get away from the gaming. Get away from the getting fat, sitting in the basement all day long. Get away from being a miserable wretch. You are a white man. Get off your ass and be the hero that you are supposed to be. And if no white woman will have you, to hell with them then. You have a greater service in this universe. It is that White Wellbeing. It is that biospirit that beats in your heart. If they're not good enough to see that, then they can go to hell. Come now, better yourself. Be the hero that you have to be. We need you. I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, even if none of those whores give a damn about you walking through the hall at a mall. You can be a hero with me. You are in a death cult with MGTOW. I sympathize with people like Angharad. All the women out there. RJJ says, amen, preach NWG. I absolutely sympathize because our young women, say a woman is a 5, say she's a 6, and she goes out and she honestly says, and this is obviously an arbitrary scale, 1 to 10, but say she's using this arbitrary scale, she thinks she's a 5 or a 6, honestly. I don't know how it is. Everybody, you ask them, where do you think you rate on the scale of 1 to 10? They're always rating themselves like 1 point away from supermodel. So, but she's honestly seeing herself at that, and she honestly says, okay, I'm going to ignore all of these guys who are much better looking than I am because I know that they'll just bed me down for a while, use me and abuse me, lie to me, and then go on to the next woman. Instead, I'm going to look at the men who are on my level. And she talks to the first guy, and he's an incessant gamer. And she talks to the 100th guy, and he's an incessant gamer. I have many women in my life that I love. I have women in this chat that I love. I love Laura, who brought me this information. She is a remarkable woman. I want the best for our women. And I sympathize with our women when they have to go out, especially when the guy that she interviews to be her husband and mate or whatever, he ends up sharing anti-white opinions. For God's sakes, I obviously sympathize with our women then. But that is the world that women have created by their decisions. So criticize your sisters. Be angry with your sisters. Put the blame where the blame should be put, where the responsibility should be laid. JC says that I'm the man. CG Rockwell says, hail, Jason, you're right. Raymond has super chatted, doing double duty, the great Raymond. Raymond found a great wife. $5 over here on the Familiar Alternative. Thank you for the stream, brother. Although Heidi and I have been together forever, this is a very important message for our people. I do not know what I would do without my better half. There are plenty of our folks out there. They feel the same way about each other. And thank God you two found each other. Thank God for every one of those unions. And thank you all for living the life that is going to have to be lived to save our people. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, I see Roy and Seaver are both doing tests on the question widget over on Entropy. I don't know if you guys can see each other or not, but I'm not sure if it's working or not. Let's see. We're going to wrap up here shortly. If there are any other questions or super chats, this is a very important message, and we need our people speaking to our young women about this fervently. This is absolutely part of going free. Go free of being a whore, because that's what you are when you go from one pretty guy to the next pretty guy. All right. Well, it may be that I don't know that Entropy is going to come back online because we had that break in the, let me check over here for any more comments, and then we will wrap it up. Oh, Roy's over here saying he doesn't see anything in the chat widget. So I don't know if that's working. Slots has super chatted over on Cash App, super chatting $1. Thank you very much, my dear friend. $1. Wish I could give more. Great forest trees quote. Ah, thank you. Yes, indeed. I'll say that again. These people who are abstractionists, ladies and gentlemen, and they support Western civilization, but they don't support white people, are being asinine, because that is like saying that you are for the forest, but not for the trees. There is no forest if there are no trees, just like there is no Western civilization if there is no Western kind. All right, looks like we've covered all the bases over there. Make sure we got them covered over here, and we're going to check out. Coconut says, no white guilt, my hero. Well, thank you so much. Coconut and her husband, wonderful people, magnificent. Thank the good Lord that they found each other and are both working in service of white well-being. Popcorn says, no white guilt is going hardcore. Well, you're damn right. Thank you very much for pointing that out. I'm absolutely going hardcore, because nobody is criticizing. Why is everybody so afraid of women? I'll tell you how afraid I am. I had a very attractive woman on a date in my car, and we were going down the road. She was a little, decided she was going to be a little, I don't know, argumentative, I guess. I don't know. Decided to say some pretty grossly anti-white things. So I invited her to leave the vehicle. First, I invited her to experience how well the brakes work on my car. And she was seatbelted in, and I invited her to experience how well the brakes work. And then, since we were in a very safe place and she would have no problem getting home again, I invited her to leave the vehicle. That's how afraid I am of offending women. So I'm not going to get, you can bristle out, you can bristle all you want. You can make up all the lies you want. You can say all the manipulative statements you want. Doesn't bother me at all. It's just going to make me laugh. Mandy says, no white guilt. Yes, women are at fault, but don't you think men should be blamed for allowing it? In Western civilization, we gave you all, we changed the whole context of the globe, where women and cows and sheep, they all used to be our property. And then white men said, you know what? We really love our women and we love our daughters. We don't want them to be just property. Let's give women rights. Let's make them our equals. And we did that incrementally. There was no giant. Remember reading about that giant uprising when all the women got together and they made all this military implements, and then they came against the men of their country and they defeated them in conflict. And they said, you're going to give us rights from now. We're now equal to you. Remember that big battle oh yeah, that never happened. No, it was white men who said, let's be kind to our women and let's give them some rights, and it's going to happen incrementally, and so that everybody can get acclimated to it. Let's make them our equals. So we made our women our equals, and then what ended up happening? Well, then the law system ended up getting turned against us. All of these different things, the voting patterns. Suddenly, the government was working as a giant nanny state and roaming the landscape, like wielding a giant sword against any man who would speak out against a lady. And men had no rights anymore. We had no power anymore in the male-female relationship. The dynamic was completely upset, completely turned on its head. Undoubtedly, anti-whiteism and anti-whites played a huge role in that. But there is no way that white males can stop white women from doing anything today. Nothing. If white males tomorrow all said to our wives, you are going to do X, Y, or Z, or white males in one state or white males in one area, we are not going to allow you anymore to make a decision about who you're going to date, who you're going to throw your back on the ground for. If we did that, law enforcement, which men in pretty costumes would show up, and they would in some cases, beat the hell out of us. We would be dragged off to jail. There's no way that we can stop women from doing whatever they want to do. So now now we're in a situation where we have to persuade them for the good of our people, which is ultimately the best way. We don't want to have to be ordering, nothing like that. We need to give our women the option, the choice to do what's right. That means they've got to know what's right. They've got to hear what is good and will result in good for them, good for their future husband, good for their future children, good for our people, and therefore, coming all the way back around, good for them as individuals. If they're not made aware of that choice, and they're not shamed for taking this other route, they're going to keep taking this other route. Because why not? They are smitten by their own beauty and the idiotic idea that somehow, even though the beautiful guys are going through women like water, somehow she's going to be the magic one. Every woman thinks that. And you're not. You are not. Isn't this Leonardo DiCaprio guy? He breaks it off with a woman every time she turns 25. Why would a woman decide to date this guy? He's gone through, that the public knows of, like open dating. How many? 50 different women? How many has he actually had sex with? I don't know, probably several hundreds, I'm sure. Hundreds of hundreds. But openly for the public to see, what, 50 or so? And every time they hit 25, you're done. How many women have to go before you for a woman to be smart enough to say, I'm not going to be the magic one. He's going to use me up to 25 years of age, and then he's going to dump me. Come on. We need to be telling women that they have a choice, and this is the thing that is, this choice here is what's going to benefit them, and this other choice here is what's going to harm them. And by the way, honey, if you go that choice, you're a whore. Okay, Angharad Celtic says, true story. My very bright, skinny, but cute teenage nephew ignored his girlfriend. All she wanted to do was cook for him and get married and have babies. Well, sounds like you just told us a story that is an exception to the rule. You couldn't possibly be asserting that that's what's happening out in the world. So sounds like your nephew is the one that definitely needs a talking to. We keep telling him to eat the stuff she's made for him. All he wants to do is play the video games and his guitar. Definitely sounds like he needs to go free. You should get him my book and tell him to listen to the part of this stream where I admonish our young men to do what's right and get out of the basement and become a man. And if he's got a woman that is his equal in looks, and she's ready to get married and have a wonderful life, build a family with him, and he is wasting this opportunity, he is making a grievous error. And if he doesn't know now, he will eventually know what an error that was. Aunt Sally says the most famous suffragettes were members of the Frankfurt School. They were part of the plan. Yes, indeed. Very well stated there. Ursa Major super chatted $5. Didn't write anything, but the $5 speaking loudly, I am sure, not only to all of the anti-whites, but to all our young women out there who are on the verge of making a bad decision. Gandalf says we shouldn't fear death, we should fear cowardice and not living for our people and being the hero of our own life's journey. Amen to that. Very well written. A lot of people writing positive things here. Ursa saying, strong men like us need to help our white sisters as much as possible. We have not been doing enough. Absolutely. You know, what I'm saying here is helping. And if you're a woman and you're honest with yourself, even if you're Sydney and you feel a little unnerved by this, if you are mature and you're honest with yourself, you'll come away and you'll say, wait a second, the things that he's actually saying, yes, I was unnerved by them at first, but he's talking sense. He wants what's best for me. I'm not telling you all to go. I'm not telling young women to go out and marry losers who want to, these troglodytes who want to live in their basements and just play video game and play their guitar all day. You know what, Angharad? If your nephew, this is something I'm going to tell you right now. If your nephew doesn't want to come out of that basement and become a man, then you should tell that girlfriend to find a guy who will be a good husband to her. She should not waste another minute of her life on him. If he's going to remain a loser in the basement, she should move right the hell on and get a guy who deserves her. I challenge you to give her the right advice if he won't take it. Because I am giving advice here that has to be harsh, because it's got to shake you out of this pattern, this inertia of saying to yourselves, because this is the thing, young women, they didn't earn their beauty. If you are a young woman of any level of looks, just in general, though, you didn't earn your sexual attractiveness to young men. This is a suit you're wearing. You have to use it for the benefit of yourself and the family that you want to have and the civilization that we create, the people whence you came. Because if we don't have a strong people, you're not going to have an environment to be happy in. If we don't have a strong and robust civilization, you're going to be roaming the streets fearing gang rape as Western civilization and law breaks down. So what I am saying to you is to shake you out of this. If you remain a whore, your life is going to be miserable. If you get out of that pattern, you're going to have a chance. And you know what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? Some of those 35,000 are going to hear this message, either directly from me or maybe from one of you. They're going to get off this path. Maybe they haven't actually jumped on that carousel yet. Maybe that they're thinking that should be the thing that they should do, and that's their right to do that. They should just freewheel and party now all they want. Maybe they're going to hear this message before they get ruined, and they're going to make the right decision. And they're going to be the ones who come back at some point in the future, just like I've already had with other couples, but for different reasons. And they're going to say, no white guilt. Here's the photograph of the baby that exists because of you. Because you had the courage when this very popular, very well-liked, everybody writing me, telling me, oh, she's wonderful. Don't say anything bad. Whatever you do, she's fantastic. She's wonderful. You had the courage to chastise her, because you had the courage to stand up and say, don't be a whore. I was able to get off that path. It rattled me, but then I started looking at men that were on my level, and just as you predicted, I came across a bunch of losers, guys who wanted to just play video games and drink beer all day long. But you know what? Then I found Sean. Then I found Brad. Then I found whatever. And we were perfect. I couldn't believe how much she'll say that she fell in love with him, how deeply she fell in love with him, how much unity and harmony she felt with him that she never had with the pretty guys all she had eyes for prior to that. All of this list got to be exactly this height. Face has to be exactly that pretty. Now she's with this guy. She can't believe how much she has fallen deeply in love with him. Could not have imagined her life being that beautiful. And here is the first child from that beautiful union. And that child, my friends, is going to grow up in a loving home and going to be a proud member of our people, going to be able to do great things for us and therefore for him or herself. And you know what else? There are going to be other ones out there. There are going to be some of those 35,000 that are going to hear about this, and they're going to watch some of this either directly from me or from one of you or somebody out there. And they're going to be so deep into riding that carousel. And they're going to think it's so much, and their loyalty is going to be more to their gender than to our people, than to Western kind. And they're going to make up rumors, and they're going to make up lies, and they're going to slander me as best they can, as a woman can slander. And they're going to mock me as best they can, as a woman can mock. And then she's going to get 35. And she's going to start getting fat. And she's going to start getting ugly. And suddenly she's going to be twice the width that she normally was. And no men are going to be interested in her, except for quick round of sex and then back to drop you back off at the bar. She's going to be surrounded by cats. Her life is going to be miserable. And we as a people are going to be weaker because of it. I have the courage to stand between her and those bad decisions. Do you? Do you have the courage to say as a young lady that you've been headed the wrong direction? That you've been focused on men that were out of your league in looks? That you weren't interviewing the right guys? That you've walked by hundreds, if not thousands of men over the years who have looked at you in the hope that you would finally give them a little bit of attention? That you would give them that face that you reserve for only the top 10% of prettiest guys? That it's okay to come talk to me face? That I'd like to hear from you face? What kind of man are you? What kind of man might you be? What kind of potential do you have? And women out there, the last thing I'll say about this, and then we're going to wrap up, is the women out there who are mothers and who have sons, don't you dare side with your gender on this. That is disgusting. Because it's your sons, unless they're pretty, that are going to suffer. And it's our people, even your pretty sons, that are all going to suffer in the long run. You tell your daughters what's going to be best for them and best for your sons. And if you don't, then you are as wretched as the women that are out there whoring themselves as concubines to like those two guys I knew, to these studies about on the dating websites, to everything that we see. Brand danger. I have no idea why people are afraid. Everyone is going to die. So why not live with honor and courage while you're alive? I agree. Chancellor, super chatting 10 pounds. Thank you very much. Hi, Jason. Sorry about the confusion. I left the super chat on Entropy. I just wanted to ask if you could give advice on how to make an oblivious friend more aware and turn them to white positive thought, going free, serving white well-being. Is this friend a vague in the sense of totally unaware of what's going on in Western civilization? I mean, how out of it is this person? First thing that I want you to do is find out where this person is on the spectrum of caring or not caring about our people. Where is this person on the spectrum of understanding that his or her well-being is attainable or a result of the well-being of our people? If it gets worse for our people, it gets worse for him or her. If it gets better for our people, it gets better for him or her. Where are they on that spectrum? And if you don't already have Go Free, get Go Free and look at the strategies in Go Free. You'll be able to see things in there, MCs, meme curatives, that you'll definitely be able to use on this individual. Generally speaking, you want to begin with the things that matter to the person. If you're asking me about a person, just totally generally, and I have no idea where the person is on either of those two spectrums, you want to find out what's going on in their job, what's going on in their dating life, what's going on in their family life, what is wrong. If something is wrong in any sphere of their lives that they're upset, that is really bothering them, it is almost guaranteed in one way, shape, or form to be a consequence of anti-whiteism. It is up to you and your intelligence, your genius, to find out how anti-whiteism is responsible for the thing that is adversely affecting that person, or the things that are adversely affecting that person, and then to share with that person the cause of those troubles for that person. Does that make sense? No coffee slurp sound. Kate Jensen, super chatting $2. I love our men, kings of our people. Thank you, my dear lady. We don't hear it enough. I deeply appreciate it. Ang Harad says her grandfather won the lottery and she dumped my nephew's son, my nephew soon after. Well, if he was, that actually opens up a whole nother can of possibilities. I mean, was he really that awful, or did she suddenly see the possibility of millions, meaning that she could trade up on men? Coconut writes, no white guilt, brilliant man. Thank you very much. Laura, I love you too. Thank you very much for that. Eric says, I love everyone here. I do as well. Thank you, Eric. Rick says that being destroyed by divorce turns a lot of men MGTOW, precisely because women, the courts and the interpretation of the law and the way the actual laws are written. I mean, we've had Lacey Lynn on before to talk about this. They are all favor the woman, grossly so. And I know there are cases, please don't bother bringing them up, where some woman was grossly abused by the system and the man somehow, those are exceptions to the rule. And my heart goes out to these ladies as well. Anyone treated unfairly, my heart goes out to those people, irrespective actually of sex or race or anything. Anyone treated unfairly, my heart goes out to them. We have to deal with the reality that the vast majority of the time, divorce courts, child custody cases, they treat the men unfairly. That's why you end up with things like MGTOW. MGTOW don't exist coming out of a vacuum. This exists because women are creating this monster that is going to destroy our civilization, is going to be one of the big elements that destroy our civilization unless we get a grip on it. Roy Danton, super chatting over on Entropy. I can now see a super chat on Entropy. I thought somebody said they had super chatted on Entropy earlier. It wasn't working. $10. Thank you, Roy Danton, for another super chat. This is a loose quote from my memory from a book I recently read. Quote, don't ever wish for something, because the moment you wish for something, you've already given up working toward it. I actually talked about my personal views on wishing many years ago when I became an adult. I said never wish for anything again, because every wish is a curse. So yes, indeed, that is, you never wish. You say, I want, or I will achieve, or as soon as you say, I wish, you've cursed yourself. It will never happen. Mrs. Jess Horse, super chatting $14.99. When I was young, thank you very much for the kind super chat. I clumsily got married and started a family. Now, 9 children, and I'm a grandmother at 43. I'm very happy. I've never had diseases, missed countless heartbreaks. Thank you very much for sharing that testimony. There are young women who are going to hear and read things like this. And this is the kind, you need a life, ladies, that are like these women who they find the man that is going to perfectly match with them, and you rear a beautiful family, and you're able to celebrate. Well, first of all, you get married, you have those good years together of just enjoying each other in your youth, when you can do it, while you have the time to do it, when you still have the energy to do it. Then you produce children and you rear them in those years, that phase of your life. You have that beautiful time where your joy is their joy. then you're able to move on into the grandchildren and you bring their love in, and then your joy becomes that joy, seeing your babies give life to new babies. There is an entire world of living that has been robbed from us, and is being robbed from us in large part because of women deciding that they're going to give all of their attention to only the pretty guys. And then people like Sydney, whether this is what she's doing or not, I don't know. Perhaps she's an exception to the rule, and somehow she is pretty as she is, never been looked at. I doubt it, but somehow, otherwise they're going through a lifetime of no men out there. Didn't we see this from another pair of sisters, the same beautiful sisters, the same sort of claim? No men are out there. That is extremely insulting to every man and to every woman out there who has a son. For you to say there are just no men out there, when these are women that are attractive and are getting looked at everywhere they go, it is a despicable thing to say. So thank you very much, Mrs. Horst, for that. SS super chatting $5. Thank you, my dear friend. Cool avatar as well. Is that an English gas mask? Hail knowledge, hail virtue, hail loyalty, and the victory of our great past and yet to be written future. We are our greatest wealth. We are indeed. And we are saying the difficult things, the things that need to be said. And we're going to say it, even if it causes a bunch of women to shriek like mighty harridan shrews, cat ladies from the roofs, hurling cats down at us in their wrath. I don't give a damn. We're going to say it anyhow because it's what needs to be said for the health and welfare of our people. Ladies and gentlemen, so at some point we got away from the reality that loving someone loving someone and guiding them involves both, I guess, easy advice, welcome advice, but also painful advice. How the hell did we get to a place where women can go berserk, so berserk that men write me and say, whatever you do, don't criticize Sydney Watson? Where women can go so berserk if love is demonstrated by way of advice that is painful to take. That is part of love. Do you not slap the child's hand away from the stove? I mean, are you going to let the child grab the burner? Do you not slap it away? There are harsh words at times. There are harsh truths that have to be shared. Angharad Celtic, super chatting $20. But thank you very much for that, especially since we've been going back and forth. I'm not disagreeing with you about women, but both women as well as men have been shredded by the Marxist takeover. Yeah, I call it anti-white, right? Marxist is in one of the subsets. FYI, I hope that girl is not ruined by the money. Absolutely, 100% agree with you, dear lady. Both our men and women have been shredded by anti-whiteism, and we need to get them all back on the path. And like I said, I am going to criticize, and I have been criticizing. I have gone to many events with our young men, and I have spoken to them in much sterner words because, I'm not in the presence of grandmothers and other wonderful people in front of whom I don't want to speak with harsh language. And I've been much harsher with them, rest assured. But I also know that there is a fulcrum here, and it's not them. They know as well as I do, and there's no use lying to them. I know there's a lot of women. There's women in the white positive sphere who want to tell, not you, Angharad, but there's women in the white positive sphere who want to tell our men, oh no, it's all up to you. You have to be a better man. You have to have a more expensive car. You have to have a better job. You have to have a better. None of that matters until she's given up on the pretty faces. And every guy knows it. We all know it. And every woman knows it too. The only women who are really arguing that are the ones who lived it, who lived this carousel ride, or who are more loyalty to their gender than to our people. I mean, it's really disgusting. Eric says, Jason for POTUS. Well, they would kill my ass before I got anywhere near the lectern. We have to get power and control over our society again. We have to regain our destiny. You're absolutely right about that in so many ways. I know I had a super chat, at least I believe, from Brant Danger, unless I was hallucinating, and that's possible at this point. With all the estrogen-driven hatred that is now coursing from those 35,000 of her followers. Radio Valhall says, great show. First time here from Scandinavia, but this issue is present in all Western countries. Thank you for checking in. It absolutely is. I've talked with men and women all around the world, and it is true everywhere. And women, the really funny thing too is that just like in America, the older a woman is, the more ready she's and willing she's to admit this truth. When she's in the midst of that game, no. And by the way, I hope that it is not the money, Angharad, that has changed that young girl's mind, and it doesn't ruin her. I hope she goes on to find a guy that's good for her. JT Smith is here. Great to see you, brother. Writing, Jason's a brilliant leader. Thank you very much. I'm on the front line with you, but I thank you. That's a most kind compliment. All right, let's see. I know we have Chancellor said thank you very much. I'm going to get this super chat and then we're going to wrap it up. Let's see. There it is. $5. Thank you very much, good friend. $5, friend. Here's hoping feminism dies the death it deserves. All anti-whiteism, brother. Absolutely. All it. Every single bit of it. Let's hope it dies the death that it deserves. It has made such a destruction of our lives. Angharad says she'll tell her nephew to send me some of his music. Please do. And I will look for any super chats that we missed over on Entropy. I will get them and make sure that next Sunday we read them. We will talk about them. I appreciate you all being here with me tonight, going free, talking about the difficult subjects that we have to talk about. And I'm not, one of the big differences here with what we do is that for as many jokes as we tell, for as lighthearted as we can be, for comedy skits and music and everything else that we do, we get very serious about going free because this is a very serious topic. We are saving lives, changing lives, putting people on the right path. And because of that, when we say things like this that are very serious, we're not able to do like some of these snarky content producers that can just say that I was just saying it and I didn't really mean it totally, and they kind of can weasel their way out of it. No, when we say it, it's the kind of thing, as the saying goes, in the States at least, because of capitalism maybe, that it can be taken to the bank and people will hold it against us in one way or another. I'm getting some messages about, let's see. I see. Okay. So I'm just getting a message about Sydney that she might be, again, I'm receiving this information, so I can be corrected on it. She might be, there's the possibility that she is with some kind of a Jewish guy on and off that makes money off of the angst of white people and losing, because we are losing our countries, and right there in time to be a potential merchant right individual. Who knows if that's true or not? Might not be true. But I also just received more news, and I can be corrected on this, that these she might be a little older, that Sydney might be a little older already than I had guessed from the pictures that I saw. So if that's the case, then some of these other things, like these analogs like wealth and things like that, will begin to play a part in her search. We'll keep our eyes open, though, I guess. And I want you all to know, let me take a quick last look, and I'll say the final words, and we'll get back together. We're going to have a great week, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, the Christmas decorations have gone up. There'll be more. Millennial is coming up. How many of you love it? We all love it. Thank God Millennial Woes, or just Woes, I guess, is doing Millennial again. Very excited about that, or I guess that potential, putting that sort of thing together, and looking forward to the Christmas show on. With Red Ice potentially, and hoping that will happen as well. Let me go ahead, and I see a couple of super chats here from Slots I'm going to read. I'm going to jump over to the other screen to see who might have super chatted, because I can see that while we're live on YouTube if I missed it. And I want to make sure I don't miss those if I don't have to. So we have Slots super chatting $5 on Cash App. Thank you very much for that super chat. $5 to add to the kitty that Slots has been super chatting. That last speech looks from whence they came. Oh, you like that? Okay. Well, thank you very much. $5 from Slots, and another $5. And writing $5 more. I seem to have found more to give. Well, thank you very much, my dear friend. Every little bit counts. I know we're all working class folks. It's very meaningful to me, and thank you very much for that. Let me jump over and make sure we haven't missed anybody. Hansa says, Saul Brand Dangerous in a super chat. We got it. Thanks for all you do from Gandalf. You're most welcome. Angerite Celtic saying, thank you. She was a doll, very sweet and innocent. I fear for her. Well, God, please, if you still know that young lady, reach out to her and give her the advice that we're sharing here today. Let's make sure that she goes down the right path. I want her to have beautiful, proud, gorgeous white babies. And we come in so many varieties. I want her to have whatever her like, and let's make them proud. Let's make them glorious and heroes for our people. Maybe you'll play a role in the next Andrew Jackson by giving her the advice that she needs to have to find a good man. So we are working on pulling this up. I will not forget to distribute the awards over on DLive, although it doesn't seem to be. I clicked it. Let me know if it works. It tells me now that I can't give awards away more than once, even though I don't see a countdown. So let me know if it is counting down or not. And it looks like we're coming through loud and clear on the other locations. So I'm just trying to get over to make sure we didn't miss anybody over there. Katie says, did you find both my super chats? So I found at least one. Seaver says, there's a DM coming from Snow Duchess for you on Twitter. Well, I will check it out. Thank you very much for that. As soon as we have this up, I will see. Koganun says, you are a cool cucumber. No, I get nerves of steel, my friend. Thank you. I guess you, as a woman, I guess you know about this ferocity that might be exhibited by the 35,000 following Sydney and how upset they might be. Ooh, I'm scared. I'm so scared, ladies. All right, we're almost there. Angharad says she loves the decor. Well, thank you very much. Syntheside coming in with some information that I don't have. Thank you very much for this, brother. Writing, she is associated with Avi Yemeni, but I don't think romantically, ? Okay. Yeah, correct me or correct the folks that are providing information as to whether or not she is romantically involved with this potential merchant on the right. Is that Theosign? Says, no, I guilt. This is one of the messages you bring that I love you for, brother. Hail our folk. Well, hail our folk indeed. Thank you for that. Insane Hermit says, this episode was great. Well, thank you. I'm glad you think so. I hope we make a change for the better. And I want those young women out there. If you're out there and this message spoke to you and maybe pissed you off at first, but then you ended up on a path that you know or will have at that point led you to happiness, I want to hear from you. Katie super chatted. I think I found the other one. Yes, I did. Katie super chatting today. Thank you, dear lady. Super chatting $2 and writing, women blaming men for their choices is being weak. Indeed, I agree completely. Very well stated. Now, looks like I didn't miss anybody on YouTube. Wait a second. Looks like I missed Dispatcher. Super chatted earlier this evening, $5. And thank you very much for that. Writing, like Frame Games said, quote, matters of the heart can never be racist. If so, then so be it. Enjoy some Yuletide, my frosty folkers. Thank you for that. Well said. And thank you very much for that super chat. And did I get Danny's super chat? Super chatting $1.99 on YouTube. Didn't write anything. Thank you, Danny. I think I did, but just in case. All right. That looks like we have everybody on YouTube covered. And thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for making this a wonderful show. Thank you to all of the moderators who did the difficult work that they have to do, making sure that the chat is productive. I can assure you all, regrettably, that on future streams, there at least is the potential that some maybe hirsute harridans will show up, banshee types, to curse me to hell for having called them out on whoring behavior. Because don't you know, they all just deserve to have the prettiest men in society, and the rest of the men should just go to hell. Because Lord knows that all they want to do is play video games. I wonder why. So your job might be made a little harder. But I want to thank everybody who wrote in the chat. Welcome to everybody who is watching live, who is new to the community, or who is watching in replay, has watched all the way to the end of this show. Thank you all for the support you give me. And I have stood alone on this gates of Thermopylae. I have stood alone against anti-whiteism, time and again by myself, meeting after meetings I've held, and no one has shown up because no one knew how bad it was for our people. They didn't know that they needed to get out there. They were too afraid of the smear. They feared the smear. They feared being a heretic. They feared the regime. They feared all of these different things, so they wouldn't stand with me. But now, in these new metaphorical gates of Thermopylae, I am shoulder to shoulder with all of you good people. We are no longer alone. We are a rapidly growing community in service for white well-being. We are all going free. Absolutely beautiful people. And again, another super chat from Roy Danton over here on Entropy. There are still 2 weeks left in the year. And after already going 80% of the distance, I will certainly go full distance. Half an hour of jogging is my big goal. Thank God, brother. $5 from Roy Danton. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for improving yourself, brother, because the better you get, the better we get. The stronger you get, the stronger we get. The smarter you get, the smarter we get. Thank you, and everyone out there who is improving yourselves. Thank you all for all of your kind words, all of your super chats. The support you give is all put toward this entire plan that I've been working on now for over a decade, formulating, fighting the inertia of the past, that just keeps pushing. These are all the old forms. This is the way it's supposed to go. Fighting, I started off this episode today talking about all of these people who continue to indulge endless discussions about politics, things they have no control over. I have to fight against all of that inertia so that we can learn that we need to focus on the things that matter, the focus on the things that will actually change our lives, change our context, so that we can regain control of our destiny. There are going to be people who are pissed off and offended from what I said over the politics. There are people who, from all of these old schools, all of these old spheres, they can't hear a thing except for politics. And I say to all of them, you are fools for it. I am not going to suffer fools in our midst anymore. If a fool is going to stand there and be a fool, I'll let him know. I'll let her know as well. And I've stood out now against all of these females. And you know, all of these shrews are going to come marching because we have stood out here, because I have said the things that had to be said. And you know, all of these gelded white knight cuck buck bitches are going to show up to try to slander me and slander what we're doing and going free, because they have these fantasized relationships with people like Sydney, giving her dollar after dollar so that she can tell more jokes, so that they can imagine they're in a relationship with her, while she keeps her eyes potentially, I don't know that this is true for Sydney, might be way off the mark. She might be a wonderful person. She can let us know by what she does next. But all of these losers paying dollar after dollar to her for imaginary relationships, while she grows into older and older age, claiming that she wants a family, claiming that the men out there are just too miserable. White men out there are just too miserable for her. Go to hell. Go straight to hell. You know the problem? If this is real, Sydney, if these statements are real, that your problem is that you have been an attractive woman for well over a decade, maybe a decade and a half. You've been an attractive, available woman. And you're complaining that everywhere you go, they're just all soy boys and why can't you just find a man? No, the problem is you wanting to ride the carousel. That is the problem. If this is true, what you're saying, what you wrote, and you're not some exception to the rule, then the problem is you. It's not that there aren't good white men out there. It's that there are whore white women who want to ride the goddamn carousel all of their good years. And who only, once that belly starts growing out and you see it in that shirt past their breast, only then do they decide that they're going to settle for the guy they should have married 15 years ago. White men are not the problem, Sydney. Certainly not for an attractive white woman. You could have any white man out there. If you're single, it's your fault. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's all go free.